Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. Welcome back to Final Fantasy Chronicles of Eno. I am your host and game master, Skajaramas, otherwise known as Tone Shift as always. And with me today, we have our full cast of players for the time being. We have Hades Shadow 92 playing Thanatos, our male human Dark Knight.
My friends are weird.
Yes, we are. He's also controlling the dice rolls and combat actions of an NPC party member, Kyra Nightstar, our female human dragoon, while I'll be handling her dialogue and roleplay elements. Next, we have Darkness, playing Alicer, our male human paladin.
Hi, Internet!
My ears.
Sorry.
It's alright. Next up on the chopping block, we have Tom117Z playing Ni Ethil, our female Elvon Ranger.
Hold on, just get jammies. We got a session ahead of us.
I am very sorry, everyone.
That's the last one, I promise.
I don't believe you.
Okay,
What have I done?
So, you see, the thing about that, I've muted him.
I am very sorry. I am a failure.
You have... I mean, but how will we have the cute little Ni and Mika moments if you cannot hear the Ni?
Like this. I will kiss your boo-boos! Now then.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you are unmuted. And speaking of Mika, I will be controlling the other NPC party member, Mika Solwyn, our female Mithra Red Mage. So, quick heads up before we get into the recap of last time and get into the session. I am very tired. Like, just straight up. I did not sleep well last night, and I didn't get to bed until much later than I wanted because people who know how to cook and make dinner for the rest of the household lost track of fucking time. So I didn't get to bed until like 3:30 in the morning. So I am not 100% here. So this is going to be a very slow and very relaxed kind of slice of lifey session. So just bear that in mind. If I seem a little out of it or a little, that is why.
Me, no shooting people through mountains.
Yeah, there won't be any. Yeah, there's not going to be any combat this session unless you guys decide to fight each other for some reason, which I do not perceive happening. But you know, there to be.
Ni, let's spar.
Let's go all out to spy our omnipresent god.
Hey, Mika's the one who wants to spar with Thanatos. Anyway.
Yeah, so if there's any fighting, it's going to be between those two.
Indeed. Anyways, so, where we last left off, our intrepid band of adventurers, having acquired Shiva's Ice Crystal of Darkness, set out to locate and rescue Ni Ethil from the clutches of the elemental Archfiend of Ice, a jester-like creature known as Scothenmel. The battle was fairly short, but vicious and brutal all the same, and almost ended with Ni Ethil being killed, though luckily her friends were able to get her back up in time to avoid the killing blow. So good on them. Following that painful scuffle, the group began to make their way back to the city of Vitae to lick their wounds, rest up, and in the case of Ni Ethil, await the completion of a certain magical item that she's been carefully working towards for the last several in-game months, namely a magically enchanted ring imbued with an ashen tear stone with which she plans to, at some point, propose to Mika with. It was as the party docked in the Vitae dry dock and were met by Fiend of Ice, if I'm remembering his name correctly. Right? Yes? Boogie Boogie?
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Farron, Phil,
Right,
yes.
Farron, right. I met with Farron, gave him their full report on the events that transpired in the Eno Watch Mountains. And then he hauled everyone off back to the Ethil household in the city, declaring that Ni and Rania and Skalala are on leave for the time being, official leave to take a bit and recuperate within the city, because last time they were here, they didn't even stop in to say hi, and Salika is a little rabid.
Livid.
What's Goth and Mel failed to do, they'll finish.
Yes. And as such, that is how we shall enter the fray.
I wonder if Atay has a damn it, I lost the word. Chiropractor.
Chiropractor.
I mean, you have a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Hey, someone's got to fill in for Rocket.
Tone.
Yes.
Can we have Ni's health for the rest of the session?
No.
Why?
Because I need something.
Well, go
I was
get
gonna
some.
say I was gonna say the rest. I was gonna say the rest of the campaign, but that would be a little mean.
No. If she and Emma were in severe conflict, then yes, but that's not presently an issue, so... Sorry, I'm not gonna have someone's HP just because you asked.
Even after the Skitch armies.
Thanatos' HP is halved.
And a moment of silence, and then boom.
I'm joking, of course. But don't do it again. Now, Farron leads you all through the halls of the castle for a short time, and before long you are stepping out into the wider courtyard and making your way through the city streets for the Ethil household. Now, just as a reminder, again, I'm tired, so I'm kind of leaving it in your guys' hands to take the reins this time. My brain isn't all here. So if there's any conversations you want to have, don't ask, just go for it.
Well, I'm pretty sure where we left off, they were all being shepherded towards the household.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, I think Rania was an exception. She might have been ferried off for reporting.
Nope. All three of them. I
Okay.
specifically remember all three of you being brought into a chokehold, or at least what a hug's the equivalent of a chokehold, and then says, "Nope, your mother is been worried sick, and you didn't stop in last time, Ni, so you're getting double it."
Alright, so yeah, the whole group, Ronnie and Skalala included, are just you're poking your way through the streets, slowly but surely, and before long, you make your way into the familiar residential district in which the more noble families reside, including the Ethils. And before long, the Ethil household comes into view up ahead. Skull gives a little languid stretch. Good to be home.
If there wasn't my inevitable demise waiting inside.
Oh, what's in here? Oh, nothing, just your demise. Sorry, I only recently discovered that meme. I find it funny. Carry on.
It is funny.
Memes. Ugh.
Sorry about that, I was stretching.
So, what's...
Yes. Farron takes the lead in opening up the front door and leading you all into the familiar, at this point, open lobby and sort of central lounge area in the home. And he calls out, "Zalika, we got a lot of company. Ni's home." It's as he says that you hear a loud thump from upstairs.
Brace yourself.
Is it too late to back out?
Too late.
This is where the you know what happens? What that effect in 14 when an instance begins?
Unite. Embrace.
I'm specifically remembering that one where Greg kind of came at us. An instance started to begin, then Julian hit him with a frying pan. Only she's Julian.
Julie. Yeah. So you look over towards the steps, and suddenly a door just And there's Salika just heaving after a sudden impromptu sprint, eyes wild and frenzied. They lock onto Ni, and then onto the big-ass hole in your chest plate.
Of course she went there first.
And the noise that you hear from Salika can best be described as a banshee shriek as she just bolts towards you.
Can I brace for impacts?
You can brace for impact at about the same time that Mika is dodging to the left saying, "Good luck, Ni!"
Traitor.
And you got a hole in your armor, so...
And everybody, I just imagine everybody just kind of ducking out of the way.
Yep,
Taking this quick.
Yep, everyone just kind of scatters. Kyra actually takes a step
Jump.
back and uses jump to just evacuate out the front door. Just
This is one cover I can't accept.
There's not my thing. Doing.
Oh,
So
look
do I
at
need
the
to
time.
roll anything to brace, or am I just doomed?
You're just doomed.
You may certainly try. Roll a force check.
Oh no.
Of course it was a force check as well.
Horse
Would
is
you
stronger.
prefer? Would you prefer finesse?
Oh, I mean, yeah, but I don't think this is a finesse thing. There's no finesse about what is happening right now.
Go.
But the opposite, really.
Just mama hugs.
I hesitate to describe it as that. That seems so innocent and thus terrifying.
This is.
Come on, word, have you opened up yet?
There's nothing more dangerous than a worried mother. Or an angry mother, for that matter.
Tell me about it. I write about them all the time.
Alright, there.
Beware the angry mother.
Or how about the time where Twilight had 3 mothers? With Tom.
I half expected that since she was extra mad just to go Ni Ethil Aurelia Blackstorm. Full name. Just to emphasize. 13.
You
No.
needed a 20, so...
Well, I needed a crit. Nice to know.
Yeah, so,
The strength of your mother's force is concerning.
yeah, so... So, you brace yourself as well as you are able. You're not entirely sure for what. As she's steamrolling towards you, you're just like, oh dear. And then a titanic force smashes into you from the front and then immediately softens. It's like being hit by a sledgehammer that immediately turns into a warm, fuzzy blanket that just wraps all around you. Is the best
Or
way
a
I can think of
torpedo that's filled with pillows rather than explosions.
Right. Although a pillow flying at high enough velocity will still wreck your shit.
But do you be comfortable doing?
Will you, though?
Just go with it.
Sure. But either way, point is, initially, titanic force, but then you're being warmly hugged, and Salika's head is resting on your shoulder. Welcome home, Ni.
Oh. Good to be back. All 3 of us.
She leans back and smiles at you. How's Emma?
It just mentally goes, tell yourself.
You briefly pass control over, and Emma puts on this slightly more awkward look. The rest of you can kind of tell. And is like, I'm all right. Just kind of keeping to the back seat for now. And then Salika looks down at the hole in your chest plate again, and the color sort of drains from her face a little bit. And, what happened here?
Is Emma going to make any comments, or is she going to give back to Ni?
Internally, you hear Emma go, "This is your storm to weather?" And immediately gives control back to you and blocks contact.
You know, if you're going to be full-blooded sister at one point, you can't escape this forever.
No, but I can skip it now.
Well, it's... I did get a little hurt, but it's completely healed and it's fine.
Salika gives you this pointed look and just kind of stares at you for a minute.
Hey, if you want to fawn over one of us, fawn over Scavala. She's the one who got kidnapped.
She got what? Scar looks at you and's like, oh yeah, two can play at that game. She points at you. He got stabbed in the chest.
She got pinned to an ice wall by a fiend.
She almost died.
You almost froze to death.
Farron steps in at this point. Girls, this isn't a contest. Like hell it isn't. He
always
started
been a
it.
contest. No, technically you started by getting kidnapped and I had to rescue you.
I don't care who started it, I'll finish it.
Fight, 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 fight.
Thanatos. Smacked him in the back of the head with my staff.
What? Dong.
Well, this is the most entertaining family I've ever seen. I gotta have some fun.
Yes, but I think you're worrying Ni's mother. Well, my head.
I think Ni and Scavala have done that enough already.
Rania's just off to the side trying not to bust a gut laughing. Just. It's about this time that right outside the front door. Alright, is it safe now?
Yep.
Oh, good.
It looks at her mother. Is it?
Salika looks past you, Kyra, and quirks a brow. I don't think I've been acquainted with this one. Kyra gives a fanciful little, overly exaggerated bow. Oh, where are my manners? Kyra Nightstar, at your service. Salika then frowns and looks around a little more. Wait, where's Rocket?
She is
Doing
focused
her own.
on. She's focused on other matters.
She has her own jobs to do, which is why Kyra's coming with, kind of pitching in.
Oh, so I'm just the replacement. I see how it is. And Kyra thrusts her nose up into the air.
You're each your own very unique individuals. You don't have nearly as many puns.
I don't need puns. I have a whip.
Yeah, and incessant, constant flirting with doofus over there.
It's at this point that Rania perks up and says, oh, so now it's him.
Oh. She just shoots that Tulsa shit-eating grin.
So now this is why we don't talk about him. Okay, gotcha.
He slowly raises a middle finger at me.
What about Kyra?
Kyra just kind of rolls her eyes. Ha ha, laugh it up.
Oh, I will. It's rather therapeutic.
Yeah, I know you will. Just remember. She then gives you a sly little wink. I bite back.
Kind of looks at Meek and goes, sorry, but I already have one.
Not like that, sweet cheeks. And then she saunters by. Farron just kind of watches her go. Looks back at you and is like, so I have no idea what the hell just happened.
Oh,
You get used to it.
don't worry about it, Dad. It's fine.
All right, then I won't.
But really, Mum, we're fine. Just looking for a bit of R&R recuperation and making up for the fact that we didn't have time to slink in last time we were here.
And recovering from being holy.
Too soon, Thanatos. And that's Panara. I appreciate the effort, but really, that was too soon.
Well,
Oh, come on, it's not that bad. At least it's not as bad as Alistair nearly getting his face crushed in that one time.
Thanks for bringing that up.
well. Either way, we just want to let you know that we were alright. And Dad dragged us here right from the docks. Literally.
Well, I should damn well hope so.
I find it amazing how I managed to punch a demon through a wall and yet my dad can still overpower me in every way.
The power of being a parent. Maybe someday you'll understand. I hope someday she understands. I want grandkids.
Me blushes.
Mika blushes.
Well, that would be an interesting little trick. Although, which one would have the baby?
Alright, we're moving on from this conversation.
And would it have a tail or pointy ears?
Looks at Mika with a pointed expression of "Stop him."
Make a negotiation check, actually.
Mika.
I guess, yeah. Because on the one hand, she kind of wants him to stop too. But on the other hand, it's fun to see you squirm, so.
13.
Okay, yeah, that'll do it. So she just kind of nods, turns to Thanatos, and whips out the book. Thanatos?
Yes.
She wiggles the book a bit. As if, like, for emphasis.
I guess it's a very nice book you have covered in coral? How does that work?
Ask the fiend I pried it from the corpse of.
So if it gets wet, does that ruin the book or is it waterproof?
She looks at it. You know, that's a good question. I'll have to test that later.
Here, let's go put it. Hey, he grabs it. Hey, let's go put it in the sink, see what happens.
Make an opposed force check to yank it out of her hand. Oh, God. I wasn't expecting to have to roll anything for Mika this session, so I didn't have her sheet up.
17.
Well, shit. All right. You beat her by a wide margin on that one. She rolled like shit.
So he now has a book, right?
Yep,
And
Thanatos
is
just
hereby walking to the sink.
Yep, Thanatos just reaches out and yoink, just snatches it right out, and she's like, "What the? Hey, give that back!"
Well, you said you wanted to test this, so why not right now?
Thanatos, give my girlfriend her book back.
But science.
I give you science if you
Should
don't
be-
give the book back.
Science should be done by the professionals.
Yes, dropping a book into a filled sink isn't science. Science, generally speaking, requires more than one subject. It requires a control variable, taking notes. This is just you being a dick.
He kind of looks at Panara, then back to Mika. You sure she's not related to you somehow?
No, she's related to me, and where she is more threatening and scary, I use a throw stone, do things.
There's no stone in there to throw. What are you throwing at me?
Oh, well, I'm sure, ever since the pinecone incident, she has, a small stash of pine cones in her pocket.
Just a small stash of pine cones and just throw a fucking.
Roll me a d6, Tom. Not for damage, but just so I can figure out what the hell you're using as a rock here. Okay, yeah. If it was a 1 through 3, it was gonna be a pine cone that you just have in your pocket. If it was a 4 through 6, you were gonna have to grab something else. But yeah, you just kind of reach into your pocket, pull out a pine cone, and
And then while he's done, just takes the book and gives it back to Mika.
yeah, it hits Thanatos squarely between the eyes. Kind of just drops it.
What does
Yeah,
it do with pine cones? Why do you even have those?
Because they are very useful, as it turns out. They never see it coming. Never see it coming. Doot, doot.
Yes.
The last surprise. Never played that fucking game.
I still need to play it.
God damn it.
Anyway.
So yeah, Mika has her book back.
Yep. She takes it back, gives you a warm smile, looks over at Thanatos, and narrows her eyes dangerously.
Oh, I mean, if he could, if he
Eyes
wasn't
as well.
still,
That's very narrow.
if he wasn't still rubbing at the bridge of his nose where he was freaking had his pine cone yeeted. Just. Ugh.
Rania goes, picks up the pine cone, and hands it back to Ni.
Never thought I'd see this become a running joke.
Hey, you helped me discover it.
Yeah, I know, you confused the hell out of me.
Ah, that's why I keep them around.
Panara just kind of rolls her eyes. Alright, I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave you all to it for the time being. I have a project I need to get to.
Well, you know where to find us.
And you all know where to find me. She heads upstairs.
Should we knock first?
That would be preferable, she calls back as she's going.
Well,
Well, that went over her head.
you hush. Now, more to the point. Since we're going to be staying here for like, the next week, to kind of recuperate, myself and Mika will be staying at my own home again. The rest of you, we have some spare rooms here, or you can take the couch, I guess, but spare rooms might be preferable.
Thank you.
Nah.
Maybe.
It's at about this time that you hear from the kitchen Kyra going,
So do you guys have anything for good for lunch or what? I'm hungry.
Kyra, you do know this is my family home, right?
and she
I don't-
pokes her head through the archway with a quirked brow.
Yeah, so? Do you know how many calories I have to ingest to keep these legs working the way they do?
Well, kind of looks at her adoptive parents. As the masters of this household, this is your problem to deal with.
Alright, time to raid the storeroom.
Salika just
What?
smiles and shakes her head.
I was gonna offer to make everyone lunch anyway.
Yes, please.
That would be nice.
All right, so Farron sort of guides you all into the room while Salika goes and starts working to throw together some big substantial meal for everyone. Given the short amount of time, it's given the abrupt arrival of everyone, it's gonna take a little bit, but it's not long before things start smelling good. So yeah. If there's any discussion that wants to be had in the meantime, go for it.
Ni hasn't got much else to say unless something is said to her, but she is in a particularly good mood to the point of humming and is staying close to Mika.
All right.
Thinking happy thoughts, Ni.
I have plenty to think about.
Kyra gives Nia a sideways look.
Did you just giggle?
Thanatos is also looking at her weird, like, I think she did. You know, for the months I've known her, I've never heard you giggle.
Well, I have to let myself be a bit of a girly girl sometimes.
It's creepy.
Yeah, it's true. In the entire time I've known Ni, she's never exactly been very girly. She's the epitome of a tomboy.
and now just fucking that's creepy. that got me. That got me, Haiti. Well played.
Did you giggle?
I'm more giggly than usual, but still, that got me. Oy vey.
Besides, I've worn a dress before. Once.
You know, that begs the question, do you still have those dresses?
Yeah,
What, you're thinking of dressing up?
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Well, last time we were here, it was a little bit battered, but we had it fixed up and it's back home.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I left mine in Ni's house.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, that Salika sort of pokes her head out a little out from the counter.
I don't think I've seen either of you wearing those yet.
Maybe some point.
Hmm.
I know you've always missed me being more girly side of me. That kind of stopped when I did the whole ranger thing. Cut my hair, you couldn't do it anymore. You pouted for weeks.
Yeah, I remember. Still do sometimes.
Was she a pigtail girl as a kid?
Heck no. My hair was below the shoulders though.
Yeah, it was kind of this long, flowing mess most of the time.
That's Rania speaking up.
I think the last time I saw it that long was that night on the tower, though. You got it pretty much right after.
Oh, for obvious reasons. It sort of inspired me to do heroic things and punch people.
Yeah, tell me about it, I've noticed.
And shoot them through mountains.
How now the student has become the master, shoots her a cocky grin.
Rania kind of just gives you a smirk back and leans back in her seat.
Yeah, I've noticed. You've advanced really freaking far, you know that?
It kind of helps when you've got, the soul I have.
I mean, yeah, you've got an absolutely unfair advantage and you're a filthy cheater for it, but point remains.
It's not cheating if it's a natural advantage.
Yes, because it's natural to be part Amber Demon.
It's natural to be part Zalaran, because I am part Zalaran. Used
It's
to be
na-
full Zalaran, as it turns out.
It's natural to have two souls working in unison.
Okay, now that's not my fault.
No, but you are using it, so...
Yes, it's also natural to grow demon wings and get all amber eye glowy and honestly kind of scary looking.
I'm glad you approve.
Point being... You've made a lot more progress than any of us could have ever expected. And we had high hopes for you from the start.
Thanks.
The prodigal baby sister finally gets that pat on the head.
At this point, the baby sister's become a better ranger than I could ever hope to be.
Well, you set me on the path. Saw me off literally on the boat to Marasu.
Yeah. When I did that, you couldn't hold your own in a fight against me to save your life. Now, if we came to blows, I'm pretty sure you'd kick my ass into the dirt.
Well, we should have a rematch at some point, because we had a little bit of a sparring session last time you came to Vitae, and you beat me then.
I did. Don't think I could do it now, though.
I would promise not to use the Uber Mega Demon powers on you.
Maybe sometime.
So, is this side of me more your speed, Thanatos? Big tomboy ranger demon?
Yeah, pretty much.
Still a bit unnervous here. Maybe I should explore my feminine side more often.
What, you gonna grow your hair out?
It kind of gets in the way of the whole ranger thing. Combat disadvantage when someone could just grab your hair.
Well, maybe when all of this shit with Diablos is done,
And this is Mika talking.
then maybe you could let it grow out a bit. Take some time off from all the fighting.
Yeah, you can
Think it-
retire. You can retire, grow your hair out, and people can mistake you for an elven princess.
Ignores Thanatos and turns to me and goes, think it actually look good on me still? Kind of got used to it like this.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely your iconic look, but no harm in trying.
Wouldn't know where to begin with it all.
Skalala pipes up from the back.
I think I'll just stick with short hair myself. I prefer it this way.
Oh yeah, because we know you don't have a feminine side at all.
Yeah, but my hair's also pink, in case you missed it.
Purple.
Close
Sorry.
enough. Point is, it's hard to have a lot of that and still manage to keep yourself looking serious.
So is that a natural color, or do you die?
I do not die, no. Something weird happened with Mom and Dad's genes when they popped me out.
Also elves. You know, weird.
Farron pipes up at this point. I don't really see why it's that strange. I mean, Panara's hair is dark blue.
So was
I mean-
mine once upon a time.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, she also has pale skin, so I.
Kyra enters the conversation.
How the hell did we start talking about hair again?
I giggled.
Right. Okay, yeah, I see the connection now.
You ever thought about growing your hair out, or has it always been like this?
Do you have any idea how annoying my hair already is at this length when I'm jumping around? It gets too long, it gets in my face when I'm jumping.
I think it looks pretty good.
I mean, yeah, maybe if I tied it behind my head in a ponytail, but not really my thing, honestly. I'd rather just not deal with it. Keep it nice and short and it stays out of my eyes when I'm in the sky. I have to see what I'm landing on, you know.
You know what? On this whole subject, kind of looks at her armor. Kind of strikes me that I basically worn this thing ever since I got it. I don't wear much else.
I mean, you've gotten upgrades for it as we've been traveling.
And that's Mika.
Yeah, but I mean, just ranger armor in general. And if it creeps him out, she mutters to herself. If you'll excuse me, I'll be back. And she starts heading up to her own wardrobe in the house. Like the big family wardrobe. Essentially, Ni is slinking off to find a more casual outfit that, you know, would befit an elven woman. Purely motivated by the fact that it'll probably creep Thanatos out.
Rania watches her go and then turns to Skalala.
Get the tea. On it.
Get the what?
Rania is immediately heading towards the kitchen spot, and Salika, who's been listening in the entire time, nods towards one cupboard.
Right up there.
I hear tea. May I have a cup?
When it's ready.
And Salika points out,
We've got cookies in the cupboard. I could probably make some cupcakes if I had the time.
Thanatos kind of just glances over to Kyra. What is going on?
I think they're turning this into a tea party.
Ugh.
I'm gonna. As for what exactly fits the purposes of this Skajama, since you're better at envisioning and describing these things, I'm gonna let you decide what the look of what she's wearing is.
well, how girly are you trying to go, and what color do you want?
Well, she's not going like full bloody
Pink.
fairy princess, and it's still gonna be her normal color, bluish.
All
It
right.
should go
That's her
pink.
thing. But it's going to be kind of casual feminine wear.
Okay. I'm not really the most informed when it comes to casual feminine wear, especially for like medieval times, but after a few minutes, Ni comes back into the room, and there's like been like a tea kettle and a bunch of teacups set out. It's like the epitome of a tea party. There's like a stack of cookies on a small plate. And as Ni comes walking back in, you look over, and it's very much still in her usual colors, with a, you know, sort of a lighter blue top and darker blue pants type thing. Again, my brain's not all here, so, but it's very flowing, has a few basic sort of abstract patterns running up and down the sleeves. It's kind of like I want to say like a blue version of that outfit Emma wore back during Ni's arc when they did their whole out on the town thing, when Emma was given charge of the body for a day. Do I still have that picture in here? I do not. Pity. Either way, point stands. And it's a nice looking outfit. Ni, as you come in, you are greeted at the sight of a bunch of teacups set around the table for everyone, with Kyra looking distinctly uncomfortable, and just a big ass plate of cookies.
Do I want to know?
Mika looks over at you and just kind of holds up her teacup and is like,
I think Ronnie and Sklala are taking things further than you were planning.
What else is new?
I'm guessing that Ronnie and Skalala have shit-eating grins on them.
yeah.
Hey, it's not like you haven't seen me in this before. It's just been a while.
Yeah, I know. And we're gonna make the most of it.
When's the last time you got out of that being armor?
The day before I deployed for my last mission, actually.
Well, since we're all being very casual here,
Kind of gestures ahead as in, join us. Join us.
Rania just kind of rolls her eyes.
Thanks, but no thanks. I will stick to my current garb, thanks.
Oh, I see. It makes sense. You can't outmatch your little sister in something like this.
I mean, I don't want to. This is not an area where I am competitive, alright?
Lies. You've always been competitive in everything we've done.
Except being girly. Ugh.
Temptation to force you to wear is rising.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Thanatos is looking very weirded out at this scene. Kind of just slowly looks over to Kyra again. You want to go in the backyard and, I don't know, work out or something?
She
I think
raises
his
an,
masculinity is taking a hit. Oh no.
she raises an eyebrow at you and says,
I was gonna suggest we go get a beer, but that works too.
We can get it afterwards.
Alright.
and she just heads up and walks right out the door into that back walled-in yard. Just straight up, just she evacuates.
And as does he.
Ni gives a satisfied sigh. Totally worth it.
So you gonna keep wearing that, or is this joke run its course?
I'm here now. I'll wear it for a little while. You still go home later.
All right.
Besides, the arm is a bastard to put back on.
It's also got a hole in it.
That too. I should really get it repaired before I dig it back on myself.
We could probably just get you a replacement, Kira. Something's kind of old and weathered at this point.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. It's kind of like, wow, that armor of yours is old, and yet you keep wearing it.
Yeah, but I also have, you know, a small legion of smiths and maintenance people on hand to keep it in top condition at all times, and it doesn't have a giant gaping hole in its chest.
Point is, upgrades aside, that thing's coming through a lot. It's kind of attached to it. A little flight suit.
Well, if we can get it fixed, we will. Just, you know. It's a lot harder to add new metal to an already existing Cuirass that's been shattered than it is to just... You get the idea.
Anyway, he kind of scoots down next to Mika. What do you think?
I like.
So, Thanatos.
Yes.
Kyra is immediately going into push-ups. What are you doing?
Will put his scythe. Well, okay. Well, here he'll take his scythe. He'll stick it in the ground. Take the cloak off. Stick it around the scythe. and then proceeds to join in the push-ups.
All right. So you and Kyra just doing push-ups side by side, and Kyra gives you the sideways look.
I want to make a contest of it.
Oh.
I'm curious to see how well you can hold up.
Alright then. What are the stakes?
Whoever loses is buying the beer when we go. Sound good?
Fair enough.
All right. Start pumping those arms, boy.
And they're both off.
All right, so I need Thanatos and Kyra to start making opposed force checks against each other. The goal being that one of them has to get 3 successes over the other one first. Ties do not count either way. Let's do our first round.
I didn't actually think he would go into this. I honestly thought they were more focused on Ni and
I kind of wanted to give you some attention too. I want to give everyone a little bit of attention if I can.
Alright, that's Thanatos. There's Kyra.
Oh, Jesus. So right out the gate, Thanatos is proving to be rather more resilient than Kyra had initially been expecting, just getting in more push-ups and more quickly, and as you're going, like, Caius just kind of manifests from the cloak and is, like, watching you two with interest. He's actually participating in the sense that he's keeping score.
He's keeping
Thanatos was so uncomfortable by Ni's unusual feminine display that he needs to man up even more.
So Thanatos kind of sees him under the corner of his eye, or I guess just kind of feels that he's there, and is just like, does this bring back fond memories of you making me do this in the desert?
A little. Push harder. Second round, roll.
Push harder.
It was Thanatos. Ooh,
And Kyra pulls ahead.
all right, that's 1 win for each. So, your initial burst of enthusiasm, Thanatos, starts to wane a little bit as Kyra realizes that,
Oh shit, I underestimated this wolf.
and starts putting more force into it herself. So,
Hey, you're a wolf now. Puppy.
I've upgraded from puppy.
if you lose, you're back to puppy.
Don't lose.
So yeah, like after a second, like Caius and I was like, you two are even.
Yeah, that's damn near crit.
Jesus.
And
All right.
Oh.
2 wins for Thanatos is like, once Kyra sort of starts really working the arms to start pulling ahead, you look over and you're like, no, I don't think so. Your arms are starting to burn at this point, and you're definitely feeling it as you're, like, just going all out on this. It's very intense, and the rest of you inside sort of look over, and you just see, like, doing, 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 with how fast they're going.
oh,
Oh, no.
Thanatos got a bad one.
Yeah.
This may.
Come down to the wire.
Oh, no!
Both of them are so bad.
Okay.
Oh, look at this! They're both tired.
I mean, that's 3 wins for Thanatos.
This is probably not good for the physical health, overdoing it. However, this is way too fun to intervene.
So yeah, it's like you guys go at this for like 20 or more minutes or so, just working your arms out to no end, building up a really good sweat, especially given the fact you're both still wearing your armor, for fuck's sake.
Hey, it gives weight.
Indeed. Before finally Kyra, she goes to do another push-up and, the grass under her hands has gotten slippery because of all the sweat she's letting off, and one of her hands just kind of slips, and she just face plants into the grass. Like, you're not far behind. You wind up collapsing a couple seconds later, but...
Holy shit! I underestimated you.
Hey, you have no idea how long it took me to get to the point where I could even swing that damn thing around.
He's not
See the
kidding.
size of it? And what did Kai say?
He's not kidding. When he picked
Yeah.
his weapon of choice, I made sure to give him the biggest version of it I could find.
Yes, to the point where we started, it was bigger than me.
You grew into it.
Yeah, after years of you almost killing me.
And look at how strong you've become. You beat a dragoon in a game of push-ups. Now she owes you a beer.
He kind of looks over to Kyra. So technically he's me. So if I torture myself, does it make me a masochist?
I do not want to get into the technicalities of that. I just want a beer.
Here it is.
Kara sort of pulls herself up, dusts herself off, looks back in through the window, and you all have been, like, seeing this happening. You can't hear it because, like, the door's closed, but you've all been seeing them doing this through the windows.
I think Thanos just won.
Looks like he's buying rounds.
And Kyra just sort of puts two fingers up to her forehead and this little two-finger salute, gives a smirk, reaches over, grabs Thanatos by the shoulder, and uses jump. So just watches Kyra disappears into the sky, taking Thanatos with her, and Caius looks and was like, ugh. Disappears into shadow, and it just zoom, shoots off after them.
I think Kyra has claimed him as a prize. Yes, he does.
I lost the game, but I won the guy.
Wow, that's one way to travel.
Yeah, and we've all just lost the game right now, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, the game, where you're not supposed to think about it. The entire audience just lost it, too.
Oh my god.
Unbelievable game.
While he is being flown to who knows where, what is the rest of you doing?
Oh, this ain't flying, it's falling with style.
Yeah, I have one last thing before we cut to see if Alistair has anything fun he wants to do. Namely, is at the apex of Kyra's jump that she's looking down at the city. She pauses and looks over at you.
So I may have jumped the bow a little bit. Where's the bar?
And then you start falling. And we'll cut away from you guys with that.
There's going to be some very annoyed Elvon person when you land and break their roof.
I mean, she's aiming for the street.
What if we just break through the roof of the bar?
I need
Oh, my
Kyra to make an
goodness.
athletics check, please.
Oh no! I was kidding!
I
Too
wasn't.
late.
Oh no! Use your athletics. It's 5! Fuck! Where did this go? We started with me being girly, and now went to push-ups, and this is 12.
Welcome to our party.
So Kyra does not break through the roof of the bar or any other building. She just kind of lands at this intersection back here. And some Elvon who is walking by is like, Jesus! And backpedals.
And where is Thanatos?
Still in Kyra's hands, so you kind of come down after and she's like, "Eek!" Make sure you don't hit the ground too hard.
He slowly looks at her. He's like, a bit of a warning next time?
Did you like the view?
Yes.
Ah, good. Where's the bar?
When my brain comes back from the sky, I will tell you.
She looks up at the Elvon you guys scared, like,
Hey, you, where's the bar?
that way. He points to the north and west, and Kyra's like,
Thank you.
and then she gives you the shit-eating grin. And immediately uses jump again. All right. So with that,
Got a lifeline.
so let's go ahead then and cut back to inside. Alistair, is there anything in particular you want to do? The next while passes in a relative quiet as everyone's sort of chowing down on the cookies and the lunch that
I'll
Sally
be right back.
eventually brings. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very nice soup that she threw together. Very nice, very all put together. Broth is rich, lots of meaty chunks and fruits and whatnot. Very, very tasty, and the cookies too. So once all of the eating, all of the consummation of food is past, what is Alistair doing?
After enjoying that, he's probably looking to everyone and just wondering now, do you think those two are going to be okay?
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yes. Jumping from a high height and going down. Don't get me wrong, I like flying, but that's just... I don't know what that is.
Dragoon thing. I thought you'd be more used to it coming from the Guardian domain.
Don't remember people eating me up in the air with them. Although I do remember that one time when I got yeeted into a wall and we're up against that behemoth. That was painful. But I suppose, speaking of which, I should find a place where I could write a letter. But
Farron pipes up. Well, we have parchment and ink here if you want to write something. As for sending it, I could probably get a courier to send it off if you want.
that's actually very handy, thank you.
Of course. Any friend of Ni Ethil is a friend of mine. Usually. Shut up, phone. Sorry, my phone was making noises at me.
Shut up, phone.
That was my backup.
That's it.
That was my backup. Wake up later in the day alarm in case we didn't play today.
Ah,
Yeah.
I see. But we did, so that's a good thing. Anywho.
A little surprised the Limsa theme is playing. I figured it'd be more of a Gardania thing.
It's on shuffle. It's randomized right now.
Behold the shuffling.
Shuffle.
Every day it's shuffling. Anyway.
Yep.
All right. So do you want to do this letter now, or?
Yeah, best so. Parents are probably worried. I should let them know what's been going on.
All right. I'll be right back. Farron gets up and walks out. And a couple minutes later, he comes back with a few rolls of parchment and a inkwell and a quill and sets them down in front of you. Go nuts.
Thank you.
So who are you sending this letter to?
To Alistair's parents.
Okay.
They're probably worried.
Just getting them caught up on everything that's happened.
Yep. Which, thinking about it, that's a lot.
It might need a few. Might need a few sheets of paper.
Yeah, better make that multiple.
I mean, he brought you multiple sheets, so.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. That's bad timing. I'm being called away briefly. I'll be back.
All right.
Oh dear.
Well, we shall say that Alistair is writing and then move on to the net.
Sounds like a plan. That gives me time.
All right.
Be back.
All right. So, while Alistair is writing away at his note, is there anything else Ni is doing?
Oh. I suppose I can try and add them a few bits while waiting. What do you think that's about?
No idea.
What's Bunny girl's name again? Viviera?
Beasts.
Vys. V-Y-S.
Yeah.
Vys.
Maybe it's a love letter addressed to Vise.
Mika quirks a brow.
Somehow I doubt he knows her address. I don't think she has an address. She just kind of lives in an oasis.
Yeah, number 1, Wasteland Avenue.
Mika smacks you on the back of the head.
Aw. My jokes are funny.
Are they?
Mm-hmm. You're smiling.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay, yes, I am.
The Squall
How are
pipes
you?
up.
So are relationships always this cringy, or is it just you?
Get yourself a guy or gal. Find out for yourself.
Mm,
It's
Farron
worth
just-
it, by the way.
Farron just kind of grins. 1, she's right. It is absolutely worth it. And 2, yes, they are always this cringy, at least when they're healthy.
It's only cringy when we have to watch YouTube being all lovey-dovey. Children should not have to watch that of their parents.
Hey, at least you didn't walk in on us when,
Rocket overheard you guys once, though.
I remember.
And it saved Ni's life.
That's Salika.
So we have no complaints.
I could make complaints, but that would just be petty, considering.
Yeah, it would.
Besides, at some point, you two need to go making cows ahead a body.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, boy. Yeah, the more time we go where we have that hanging over our heads, the more weird it seems.
More weird than the adopted daughter who turns out to be a reincarnated Zavaran demon person?
I mean, all that's weird as hell, don't get me wrong. But then the permanent solution to the, soul-ripping thing is, need to have another kid? Oh, yeah, that's...
As you so eloquently put it, it's a big ask. We're gonna go through with it, don't get me wrong. Just, it's... The anticipation is making us antsy about it. Because we still don't know when it's gonna happen.
I know. Still, even if she does like to play tough, she appreciates it. Having another chance.
Is darkness back yet?
I don't know.
You can assume not, given the fact
Oh,
he hasn't
Doc.
answered yet.
Oh, darkness, our old friend, come back to us again.
Still, that's neither here or there. I don't think a conversation's for the dinner table. Not right now, anyway. As they start to talk away in their own conversations, Nee's gonna quietly turn to Mika. So, you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. Why?
I'm not allowed to be worried about the girl I love.
I'm doing okay.
I'm glad. Seems like so long ago, doesn't it? Meeting you in Marasu. It was the throne room. Tam introduced you.
Yeah. I remember.
You geeked out over Rocket. Kind of did the whole bookish thing. It was adorable.
I'd rather not think
No.
about Marasu right now.
Digging at old wounds there, Nate.
What?
Nothing.
You're not here, shush. Kind of places our hands on Mika's. Well, in that case, I was trying to think of where to take this conversation where darkness is still coming back. Kind of just playing for time.
Well, if need be, we can cut back to Thanatos.
Yeah, well. In that case, you pick a topic. Anything. Any good books? Lately?
Mika just kind of gives you this flat look.
You know what? At some point while we're here, you are taking me to the library.
I suppose I could.
While we are on this break, you are going to take me to the library on a date, and it is going to be magical.
Literally, they have an entire section on ancient elven magics.
I know! I never got a chance to browse it.
There's also a section. There's also a section that's exclusively about the history of rangers and some classified documents that can only be accessed by rangers themselves or by those accompanying a ranger.
Oh,
You can never get in otherwise.
Gimme!
Baron speaks. I'm like, hey, be careful there. That stuff's classified for a reason.
Oh, I'm sure she'll behave. After all, she wouldn't want to lose access to the super rare, awesome hidden section of the Ranger Library.
Rania rolls her eyes.
Oh, great. Another book gremlin.
Squall glares at her.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean? You know exactly what it's supposed to mean.
I'll take you there tomorrow. How about that?
Works for
We
me.
can bring snacks, a few drinks, and consider it very much a date. Thanks for that.
Sounds like a plan.
Speaking of dates, Thanatos.
Oh no.
So while that's all going on, you're in the air for a little bit before Kyra brings you both down for a landing right outside the bar. And once again, there's someone nearby, a big Gulk command, who staggers back from the sunlight like, whoa, what the fuck?
Will you stop that?
Kyra just sort of grins at you. It's like,
Sorry. Just too much fun to watch you squirm in the air.
I grew up in a desert. We're not supposed to fly.
Tell that to a desert eagle.
and she pats you on the head.
Just.
Here, I'll make it up to you. Drinks are on me. Come on.
And she heads inside.
Well, they on her anyway, because she lost the competition.
Yep.
Drinks were on you anyway. I won.
I know that.
And he follows her in.
Alright, so it's a pretty chill and relaxed atmosphere at this point. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of people here. It's not like any of the rush hours, so it's very calm, very quiet, very subdued. Only a few tables are filled. Person behind the counter looks up as you're both entering, and he immediately recognizes Thanatos, like, oh boy. Because, like, Thanatos was present when Rocket got drunk here, and greatly contributed to that disaster.
I mean, Granted, he himself didn't do anything. It was mostly
No, but
Rocket.
but he encouraged Rocket, as I recall.
Okay, what did I miss?
Well, while we were waiting for you, we just kind of started showing what everyone else was doing. So,
Me and Mika have a library date.
yeah,
Alright, that's touchy.
yeah. We'll wrap up this Thanatos scene and then we'll get back to you. Sound good?
Okay,
All right.
take your time.
All right. So Kyra sort of saunters in, looks around for a second, gives a nod of approval.
I like it.
So, if I recall from the last time that they were here, did Rocket do any significant damage, like to the roof or anything?
She left a small dent, but that's since been patched up.
So he just kind of looks up and sees if any of the damage from Rocket's episode is still there.
Make an awareness check. Okay, so there's a small patch sort of just above the fireplace where the wood is visibly newer in the sort of jagged pattern. It's kind of hard to spot. You wouldn't notice if you weren't looking for it, but looking at it is like, yeah, you can see the seam where the new wood starts and the old wood ends.
He whistles a little bit and just walks to the bar.
The bartender eyes you as you're approaching. No bird this time?
No bird.
And he eyes Kyra. I don't see many dragoons around here. So what can I get you to then?
I guess whiskeys.
Sure. Whiskeys. I'm paying.
All right. The bartender heads off. Kyra looks back around at the place.
So have you drinking here before?
Yeah, back when Ni had that whole two soul problem thing, we might have introduced Rocket to alcohol.
And Alistair. He got drunk too.
Oh, and Alistair, but
Yeah, I got wasted.
let's just say Rocket should probably stay away from it.
Yeah, sounds like there's a story there.
I mean, she might have lost a bit of control and may have dented the place a bit.
Come on, buddy, you're gonna have to do better than that.
He just kind of, I honestly can't remember, so I'm just going to say he kind of explains what happened to her in as much detail as he can remember, because I think he was a little buzzed at that point too.
Yeah, I not long ago re-listened to that scene myself because I have a habit of kind of skimming through old sessions, like for favorite moments. As it is, so you go through the process of recounting to Kyra the experience of bringing Rocket in and bringing her entire pitchers full of I believe it was just ale at the time, and Rocket just chugged it all back in her beak. And she had remarkable constitution being such a big creature, but eventually she started making these little giggling sounds and noting that she had error messages showing up in her vision. You know, like commenting on how like she was apparently poisoned or something. But she kept going, and when she tried to move, her mechanical leg seemed to be receiving the wrong transmissions and was trying to take her the opposite direction of her organic limb. So she just kind of wound up zigzagging around for a while. She lingered by the fireplace, started dancing a little bit to the music, started being cheered on. Things got more rowdy and rowdy. Someone said, "Do a flip!" She tried and failed and left a big-ass dent in the ceiling, and that was where that scenario ended. And all the while, Mika was just frantically taking notes because
This is amazing.
she was just thrilled.
So, yeah, Rocket apparently gets very sillier when she's drunk, and Mika is probably going to write a paper on Chocobo's alcohol tolerance.
That is a great story, and I'm glad you told it to me.
I just wish you would have been here to seen it. Because I don't think we'll ever get Rocket like that again.
I was somewhere else at the time.
Yeah, and yeah, playing with Elizabeth and them for them, if I recall.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what was it like traveling with them?
Well, at first it was just me and Elizabeth, as I recall.
Yeah, I'm sure she was a bundle of laughs.
She was not.
Kara gives a sort of exasperated shake of her head.
I mean, I get it. The girl went through a lot, and I mean a lot, and I don't want to downplay that, but holy shit was she a killjoy.
I know.
I mean, I get there was probably some lingering bitterness because I was part of the group that kicked her ass into the ground, but still.
And then you go to end them and you bring in another killjoy.
Okay, now, at the very least, Nabat was not my idea.
I mean, I know it wasn't your idea, but still, she's as much as, in my opinion, she's worse than Elizabeth.
Oh yeah, I mean, because Nabat was actually a villain.
I mean, she's still kind of a bitch.
Eh. I'll give her credit where it's due. She's pragmatic.
Well, yeah, she could have told us to just fuck off, but the whole world's at stake, so I guess she's just biting her lip at this point.
I mean, it was, according to her, DeviantCorp's whole thing to try and find solutions to the world's problems through technology. Just went about it the wrong way. Noble goal, just poor means.
Yeah. I remember the run of DeviantCorp. That place was, ugh.
That was after the first time I parted ways with you guys. What even happened in there? Give me the rundown.
Oh, you know, we knocked on the front door and they opened it.
What?
Oh yeah, Rocket literally knocked on the front door and they opened it.
Amika suggested it.
I mean, Mika, of all people, suggested it.
That is so stupid.
I know, and it worked!
How did that work?
I guess they were just dumb. Also, I did this really cool move where I blew up a turret and most of the guys in there.
Hmm.
Apparently, lightning and machinery doesn't work very well.
Yeah, I get that impression.
So, yeah, we ran into a whole bunch of soldiers and all that. We ran into some scientists and told them to get lost.
Basically, all of them.
Basically all of them. And then the lower we went, the more soldiers and shit we found. Until to the point where we were starting seeing more of those demon things. Then,
Things.
yeah, or these weird flesh monster things that originally we met outside, and they kind of looked like chocobos, but then they weren't, and they were disgusting. And I burned most of them. Then we ran into the director, and he was an asshole.
Seems about right.
His great big mech, who apparently just shot a laser beam that shot through walls, and eventually we started to run out of walls to hide behind until Rocket literally tore through the thing, dragged the guy out of there, and then squished his head like a melon.
Oof. Didn't know she could be quite that brutal.
Yeah, she kind of scared us a little bit. The nice little happy nutcracker just kind of went a little dark there.
Went for the wrong nut.
Indeed. Well, the guy deserved it, and he was practically gone at that point. Thank you, Saran. Oh, and then Saran obliterated the entire facility, and I guess just let us live. I'm not quite sure how he didn't kill us with that blast, but
Me neither.
and then And then we found Tiamat in a cave and escaped it when Amber was shooting out of the ground trying to skewer us.
Yeah, I heard about the explosion. Just about everyone did. The whole area around where that facility used to be is considered a contaminated zone now.
Yeah.
Too much amber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting little vacation. Personally, I would have preferred Costa del Sol. Now, that was a nice place.
I was there once. It wasn't a bad place. I had fun, but ugh, the sun. That place is on the coast in the middle of a pretty northern region, yet it manages to be almost as hot as the fucking Uzora. How does that work?
That heat never bothered me.
Yeah, you grew up in a desert.
I mean, yeah. I figured someone close with dragons wouldn't mind the heat.
The dragons don't typically breathe fire out of Thanatos.
Well,
The dragon
I
in the
mean-
spire is mostly there to provide oversight, wisdom, and training to the elites.
you breathe fire.
Yeah, do you have any idea how much my heart burns after that?
That's probably some serious heartburn.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, it's not dangerous to me or anything, but it leaves my throat sore. And that doesn't mean I'm used to the heat.
So,
You cut out.
I love the silence.
You cut out. I couldn't hear anything you said.
Okay, I'm sorry. I said. So when you do the bolt breath one, does it leave a little tingle in your throat?
It leaves tingling in a lot of places. Get your mind out of the gutter.
He smacks you on the back of the head. Smack.
Hey, you said it, not me.
Yeah, I said a lot of places.
And again, a lot of places that leaves. It's very vague and leaves a lot to the imagination.
Yeah, that says more about you than it does me.
I have nothing to say to that.
She just smirks and takes a big ol' sip of her whiskey.
So, just refresh my memory. You were at the epicenter of the explosion that blew up DeviaCorp, right?
Yep.
And you lived.
Don't know how. Saran never really explained. I guess he shielded us, I guess, for reasons we still do not know. He's kind of a vague, really cryptic asshole about that.
He can't play his game if he doesn't have opponents.
I've heard that he's cryptic and vague. I mean, hasn't he said on more than one occasion that you guys are supposed to be useful to him or something?
That's what he says, which is partially true. I was the one that burned his body, so he could become what he is. Or partially makes me think this is partially my fault.
Don't even go there.
She gives you this stern look.
For one thing, you had no way of knowing that could have even happened. And for another thing, I don't think anyone could have predicted that Diabolos would pick that guy specifically to revive with so much power. Out of all of his little servants, he chose that one.
Yeah, a random Mithra who, from what I remember him saying back in Marasu, was pretty much just lost everything.
Makes me wonder what his life was like before all of this. Before that plague.
And why Diablos put so much trust in him. Especially after we've seen that he doesn't really listen very well.
Makes you think.
It certainly does.
Well, I, for one,
She lifts up her glass.
am not too interested in thinking too much right now. I'm just here for the alcohol and the company.
He
Throws it back.
or before she throws it back, he kind of takes his and clinks it against hers. Clink. Same. And they both just chuck it back.
All right. That seems like a fine note to cut away on.
Back to the Alisaya.
Back to the Alistair. We kind of been neglecting you a little bit.
Well, he kind of
Oh, that's
disappeared
all right.
on us.
I mean, yeah, but still. So, it takes you a remarkably long time to write your letter. What all do you want to put in it?
Everything.
Well, basically all the events has happened, but as is kind to him, I was gonna basically add where he's just wrapping it all up.
All right, so yeah,
And-
it's a few pages of letter, but yeah, you get through it well enough.
And that's how far we've come with this adventure of mine. Rest assured, though, everyone's still okay. We are obviously still worried about Rocket, but she's a tough bird. She can handle herself. I'm sure we meet up with her eventually. Until then, though, we still have a lot more crystals to find,
You have like 3.
and maybe even, and still probably more horrible threats lurking along the way, mainly Sawan. But besides that, once this is all over, I promise I shall head straight home so I can see you both again. And of course, my old master, hopefully he's still around.
Yeah, you guys only have 3 crystals left to get. Holy shit.
Yeah, we actually got through that pretty slick, I say.
Like it took like 10 or 12 sessions, but you guys just have most of the crystals already.
Anyway, back to this quick.
Yep.
I'm sure Renzio would be happy to know that I've improved in my training and even learned some new stuff along the way. Which, if he's looking for anyone to help him train any newcomers, I suppose I could see myself as doing that. At least to pay him back for all he's done for me. But now, I probably should get back to the others and see what they've been up to. But I need to head off out at some point. The world ain't gonna save itself after all. I promise to stay safe and keep those I care about alive, and may we meet again soon. From Alisaya.
Your entire outro was like an entire fucking page. Wordy bastard indeed. But yeah, so you get all that written up. It's like a good few pages long. Farron looks over as you wrap it up. Already?
Yep, ready as ever be. But now my wrist hurts. That's the longest I've ever written a letter.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get this sent off. Where's it going?
Although it doesn't require the full address. I mean, we haven't actually had the full address of his house, have we?
We
I mean,
don't have
just-
it written down anywhere, but your character will know it.
Yeah. So probably sent to his household in
Got it.
Scarlet Domain.
Alright, yeah, I can get that sent out. It'll probably take a little over a week to get there. I want Chocobo back, moving at a good speed.
Well, as long as it reaches its destination, that's what matters, I guess.
Indeed.
But now, I probably should see how the others are getting on, although I don't want to interrupt Thanatos.
Well, he and Kyra are off elsewhere.
They're
You
at
can
the
go-
bar.
Yeah.
They're like in
Yeah.
a totally different part of the town.
So you can
Yeah,
bother.
but
you
Thanatos
can bother
just
me and
figures
Mika.
where the two were gonna go ever since he got yeeted in the air.
It's just,
Thinks that's funny.
Like, none of you guys know where they went. You just saw Kyra give a little 2-finger salute and then steal Thanatos. She just yoinked him. You have no idea
Yeah,
where they
he's
went.
just theorizing it could be multiple places.
he was kidnapped.
More like a friendly kidnapping. You bring him back eventually.
A friendly kidnapping. We call that a date. Like, that is the word for that specific occurrence.
Yeah, like Ni is friendly kidnapping Mika to the library, or is it the other way?
Yes.
Yes.
Also, I'm going to go ahead and just submit that to Out of Context D&D, because that is a good one.
Wait, what is?
All right, thanks.
Wait, just like. Wait. What's
That's
out of
the second
context?
one.
Out of Context D&D. It's a
No, I mean,
Tumblr
like,
blog.
no, what do you putting in there?
I'm putting in a... I imagine it's more like just a friendly kidnapping. We call that a date?
Yes. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, it's D&D. Why not? It's fun.
Give me a second.
I'm giving it a second.
Yeah, and just getting all the things filled in here. I just want to get it sent off while I'm still thinking about it, because that is funny.
Yes. That's all right. That gives me time to sip some tea.
How very British of you.
All right, well.
Well, it's from Yorkshire and it's good.
Well, either way. So, at this point, I'll go ahead and let you guys know, you have about 8 days of free time for your characters to spend however they wish, including and that 8 days includes today. So, about a week of free time before Panara finishes her thing, and everyone will be free to head out. So,
Well, the only thing Ni really has to do is that library thing, and aside from that, throughout the week, you notice throughout the week that she persists in being in a oddly good mood,
okay.
to the point where, also given that her armor's in for repair, she's not really wearing her armor as much.
All right, so I guess we will tackle the date first, and while we're doing that, Thanatos and Alistair can give thought to if there's anything they want to do over the week as well.
Can I just state
She's also taking several longer looks at Mika and then tends to look awkwardly away whenever she notices.
Okay.
So
She's
can I
getting
just
nervous.
can I just state for when Kyra and Thanatos come back, both of them are stumbling, kind of like not full on drunk, just kind of like slightly buzzed when they get back to the Ethil family, to the Ethil house.
Make force checks for both of them, actually.
Oh no.
And what I was going to say was, I think the only thing Alistair would be able to do is probably sell the gear that's no longer good anymore, like the staff. I guess.
15 for Thanatos, 11 for Kyra.
Thanatos' time of chugging whiskey has really paid off. While he definitely feels the buzz, he is a lot better off than Kyra is. You needed a 15 to pass that check. Anyways. So, Ni and Mika, on the first day of your week-long R&R session, you at some point it's let me double check a thing here. Let me just it is a sunny day, kind of warm, surprisingly, in spite of things, as you're stepping out of your home. And you and Mika start making your way for the public library up in the Northern District. And you were saying that you keep giving Mika these long glances, right? And then looking away.
Yeah,
when
as
she
well
notices.
Yeah, and several times, as well as just
generally in a good mood. Like, she still hums. Every now and then.
Is Ni trying to hide this at all, or?
She's doing it absent-mindedly. She's not even thinking about it.
Then I need to make an awareness roll for Mika.
Am I rolling anything?
No.
Oh, I'm not
well,
gonna
well,
hide it,
actually, what is your stealth skill?
Well, now again, I'm not. She's not actually trying to hide it though. She's just.
I know I know you're not trying to hide it. Just tell me what the number is, and I'll derive what the DC for Mika is from that.
Standard or with the plus?
Just standard.
6.
Mika just gets it.
Hmm.
It was gonna be your standard +5 for the DC. So, yeah. As you're sort of making your way through the streets, Mika looks over at you and raises an eyebrow.
You're in a good mood lately.
Am I?
Yeah.
I've noticed.
I have. A lot of humming. You're not wearing your armor.
I've been humming.
Yeah. Not a lot, and it's very quiet, but it's been there.
That's first. She saying anything else?
And Mika is just kind of raising an eyebrow.
So did something happen while I wasn't looking to put you in this really good mood? I mean, I would have expected you to be a bit more grumpy for someone who, got shanked in the chest.
Well, at the time, it was rather annoying. But, I mean, we're here, having a good time. Is there any particular reason why I shouldn't be in a good mood? It's just... nice. Yeah?
I mean, yeah, it's just...
Just what?
Just a little unusual is all.
You sound like Thanatos.
Well, I'm sorry, I haven't seen you act quite, like this in all the time I've known you. Even when the fate of the world wasn't immediately in the balance. And we were carrying that burden on our shoulders.
Well, for the moment, let's ignore that burden and focus on the big library of books that are waiting with you to read them.
Yes. Give me.
Her tail starts
All the
swishing
books
around a
you
little
can
more
read.
erratically.
I suppose you just bring out the best in me.
I guess.
Alright, so you lead the way for a time. And eventually you arrive at the public libraries. And I don't exactly remember how I described it last time we were here, but it's a large structure, very well maintained. Soft carpeted floors, tall pillars, some keeping up high vaulted roofs. Plenty of windows to let in natural light and gently flickering orange lamps hanging from the ceiling to provide illumination deeper in amidst the shelves. And Mika's giving it all this wide-eyed sort of a look as you're entering.
Library!
Been too long
So-
since she's been in one of these.
So, where first, Miss Selwyn?
She turns to you with this wide smile, just,
Well, you promised me classified things.
This way.
I want the secret knowledge.
You're lucky that the people here know who I am, given the lack of armor. We all come here at some point, given that, well, file our own reports here, as well as a few manuals on how to ranger and not suck.
How to ranger and not suck. Step 1. Watch Ni Ethil.
She
Step
blushes
2.
slightly.
Step 2. Rest of the book.
Ah, you know how to butter a girl up, don't you?
I say? I had a very good teacher.
And she elbows you in the ribs.
Well, I'm
In
glad
spite
to
of
hear
all the-
that because
In spite of
I
all
had
the
no teacher.
floundering.
Yes, I was just I had no teacher, so it was floundering and panicking and wondering where I went wrong, and now I did that right, and oh gosh.
So you lead her through the towers of shelves and books for a while, and she definitely pauses every now and then to kind of scan the shelves as you're passing, looking for any interesting books, but is usually quick to catch up like either like,
I've already read that, or I know about that one already, or that sounds interesting, but it can wait.
that kind of thing. And after a while, you bring her towards the back, towards this secluded little darker section, and there's a ranger standing by this sort of gated off section, hands behind his back, and he nods at you as you approach. Ni Ethil?
Reversing access to the library?
He glances past you at Mika, along with a guest, I see.
She's with me. And as per ranger policy, we're allowed a +1.
He turns to Mika a bit more directly. Just be aware, ma'am, that any information you come across in here is considered classified, so unless you are given direct permission from a higher official, higher even in rank than Ni Ethil, then I'm going to insist that you keep it to yourself when outside of these halls. Are we clear?
Perfectly. I love to find secrets. I'm not in the habit of disseminating them.
Don't worry. I wouldn't have brought her in here if I didn't know I could trust her with everything.
Understood. He pulls out a key, pushes open the gate, and you step through into a much lower roofed, much more subdued, and kind of dimly lit section of the library. Looking around, the shelves are more compact, and a lot of them don't even have books, more much as they have these sort of rolled up scrolls or old reports, and sort of stapled together almost documentations rather than straight up books. But there are plenty of books too. As you stated, a lot of manuals on instruction manuals and training guides and recounts of the history of the order itself in excruciating detail, the biographies of past rangers of note who rose through the ranks or set some new policies, strategy guides on particular tactics to use in the forest to outmaneuver enemies, that kind of thing.
Somewhere on that shelf is one of the only books pertaining to information to our little precursor order from the old empire.
Oh, shoot.
Mika's immediately heading that way.
There's a lot
So
of
just-
hearsay about the old empire, but most of the specifics kind of got lost when it went and imploded on itself.
Yeah. I've had a gander at that one once. It's a lot of information, anecdotes, the odd report. It's not exactly the clearest thing in the world. A lot of the pages were lost, but it's unique.
So we're not allowed to take any of these, right? We just read while we're here?
If I tried to take any of these out, I'm pretty sure I would be thrown out of the Rangers faster than I could throw Scott and Mel through a wall.
Don't remind me that bastard even existed.
Bad point being, I'm afraid we can't smuggle any out. Particularly that ancient empire history book. It's one of a kind, and I'm pretty sure there'd be a national manhunt.
She takes the book off a shelf and goes looking for a seating area.
Come on.
I'm coming. You'd also be fascinated to know that you can't even fake Ranger credentials to get in here, because this place is warded to shit.
Oh, trust me, I felt it when we walked in.
Hey. If
It's
I
like-
wasn't actively in the system, so to speak, we would have had a shock.
Yeah, I think there's like 5 different white wards, 3 chrono wards, and 2 black wards on this place.
Wait, 5? I only know 2 of them.
How much much do you know about the different colors of wards anyway?
It's not actually my area of expertise, but knowing you, I'm sure I'm about to receive a very immaculately detailed report.
She grins as she sits down on a small little, comfortable lounge sofa, flipping open the book to the first page.
Well, there are 3 primary types of arcane ward, each one designated by one of the 3 primary magic colors, not counting blue. There's a black ward, a white ward, and a chrono ward. All 3 function fundamentally the same way, but they have different effects when something tries to breach the ward. They can be cast on large areas or on small objects or specific regions, kind of like this room. And if something that the caster doesn't want to enter tries to enter, then a black ward will just make them explode, a white ward will stun them and potentially just freeze them in place, while a chrono ward will do some freaky shit that I don't know what it does, because I don't remember the stat block.
It's been a long time since I wrote that spell.
Yeah.
And no one's ever fucking used them, so...
Well, I definitely know of the Zappy Zappy one, and I'm pretty sure some of the explodey ones are on if you try to take that ancient one-of-a-kind book out of here.
Understood?
The Rangers take their secrets very seriously. So, I'm adjusting you pokes her on the nose.
Don't worry, I can follow the rules. The only group I can think of who might be more secretive in their general practices might be the ninjas.
I mean, I could see that. Technically, I'm pretty sure if my old drill sergeant saw you in here with me, given this is not exactly essential research, I would be in for it on duty or not.
Did Rania ever do anything as a drill sergeant for you?
She gave me no favoritism. Well, at least not on duty. Outside of duty, it was, you can do it, Ni, yeah. But on duty, I was
cheering squad at home, firing squad on the field. Gotcha.
Exactly. I mean, if she showed me any favoritism at all, she wouldn't have been allowed to tutor me. So she made doubly sure not to. I still remember the extra laps every time I made a mistake. If anything, she was harder at times.
Well, it definitely paid off.
It did.
She admitted it herself. You've surpassed her.
Still feels wrong, and I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, in the magical side of things, but I don't think I could ever see myself as being above my big sister idol. That's just not non-computing.
Well, just remember,
She leans forward and smiles a little wider.
you're the one with the wind crystal.
Well, I guess that's true. We all have crystals now. Almost all.
Mhm.
What a life we lead.
Right?
But speaking of life, right now that life is books.
Books.
She immediately digs her nose in and starts reading.
Afterwards, if you're curious, I'm pretty sure that shelf over there contains more recent mission reports, including almost every one I've ever run.
Ni, if you want me to start getting creepy levels of knowledge on you like a stalker, then keep talking.
Hey, I can deal with the mission reports. It's when Mum starts showing the baby photos again that are...
You have baby,
Baby
photos?
Ni.
Your mom has a camera? Those things are rare!
Well, it's not like she has one, but she had us take some. Particularly whenever there was Magitech exhibitions and they were showing off all the new technologies from the human domains. Salem, Endlem. She took the opportunities, and when that wasn't available,
Oh, I don't know. I could never sit around for the portraits. I don't know if you noticed, but my parents are crazy.
I've noticed. Trust me, I have. And they're great. You got really lucky. Really lucky they're the ones that found you.
Yeah. Just. Wow.
Now, book gremlin time.
And she immediately starts reading.
Yeah. There was like a brief pang of guilt in me there when she thought of how a brief thought crossed her mind about how that should have been Emma, but then she squashed that because on a date, don't think about that.
Yeah. And like you have the brief thought, you quickly squish it, and in the back of your mind you hear Emma going,
It wasn't exactly your call to make. And we've sorted it out. Just keep your end of the deal, and there won't be any hard feelings. Okay?
Doing my damnedest.
I can tell. That's why I'm content to be in the back seat.
and she goes quiet and leaves you to it. All right. So, I think it's safe to say that that date goes pretty well, and that's occupying your time. Thanatos, Alistair, is there anything you guys want to do over the course of the break? Of the 8 days that you have to just kind of fuck around. You got 7 left.
I can't think of anything in particular.
All right.
As for me, well, the only thing that comes to mind is, I suppose, either get an upgrade on my old staff or just sell it for extra dosh.
Well, again, I guess, yeah, if you want to sell your old staves, you've got that new tier 5 one now.
I mean, how much skill would I get if I did sell it?
Usually you get half of the original value, if I'm right.
Yeah. And your old staff was tier 4.
Indeed.
So, let's see here. So the party would get 4,250 gil if you decided to sell your old staff.
Quiet.
Also, you have added your new items to your sheet, right? Or like you've sorted out your inventory?
Been meaning to do that, but I've got it noted.
Okay.
Which, that's another thing, I'd probably have to do some shopping.
Right. And have you written down your limit abilities yet in the Roll20 sheet?
Not yet, but I have put them in the Discord chat of what ones I've chosen. So I got that in my mind.
Invincible and Clim Hazard. Okay.
So
I
wait, did he
figured
never...
one for protection and one that can, you know,
Wait, did
actually
he
do some
never
damage.
do... Did he never do limit abilities?
He picked the wrong types of abilities because he got confused about what constitutes as a limit ability and what doesn't.
Yeah, it was a while back. Well, actually, longer than that now.
Longer than a ways back. Yes.
Yeah. What are paladin's limit abilities anyway? I want to see.
Well, no, so you're going ahead and selling the old holy staff?
I mean, it's cheaper than upgrading it, isn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're gaining money, so that's definition of cheap.
Hold up a second. What?
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Mom wanted to talk to me about something. Anyway, so. All right, well.
And probably need to get some new items. Which, hang on, I'm just bringing up my sheet at the moment.
Yeah, the Roll20 version, I take it.
Yes, I got that one already up. I'm just getting up
Yeah, good idea.
the other one. Because
So
I actually got some.
So yes, selling the old stuff then?
Yes.
All right, give me
Which
just a
seems to
second.
be... Go ahead.
And I will tell you how much money you get in total.
I am going to miss that staff, but I guess I got a new one I'm going to use, and switching in battle won't be much of a wise move.
It would be
Unless
hilarious.
Unless I have one for like combat and one for heals specifically.
It would be hilarious if you could actually put Sentinel on top, like have Sentinel and then put Invincible on top of it, to where Alistair is supposed to just take the whole thing, and just because Invincible is active, he doesn't take any damage at all.
Hmm.
That would be broken as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, that did come across my mind at one point, but then I thought, wait, there's no fucking way that'd be allowed. Plus, that's a bit broken even for my
Would that be
standards.
allowed?
What exactly?
So Sentinel is a regular ability of his that basically makes it so he can tank a
I know
group
what Sentinel
attack.
does.
But in his limit ability, Invincible lets him spend 3 destiny to basically become immune to damage for as many turns as he spends destiny. So at least 3 turns. So if he did that could he do Invincible on top of Sentinel?
On the one hand, LSI would be up. On the other hand,
I'm pretty sure for that to work,
That's-
he would have had to cast Invincible before using Sentinel.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
standard
Yeah.
action. It's a standard action, so he would have to use it before something big goes off, and it does cost 3 destiny, so... But if he had the foresight to pop that before a limit break or some other equally devastating attack went off, he could totally do it.
Yes, Sentinel reacts to Limit Break and he can do it, but he can
Also, what was the other one that you said you wanted?
hang on, it's in the chat. It's the really long word.
Clim Hazard.
Limb hazard.
That's a great big damage attack.
Yeah. I mean, I could have gone for the other one, but I figured, other side needs actually more attacks now. We're getting close to the end game.
So yeah, it's your power and your res times your weapon tier plus 2d6 in holy damage. So yeah, fuck you, fiends.
Pretty much. And
Also, after Clem is used, the paladin's total armor and magic armor scores are doubled until the end of until the start of their next turn.
exactly.
Your armor and shit is already high. You don't need any more.
I'm the walking, breathing tank.
Anyways, the group guild is up to 38,248, by the way.
That's awesome. You know what?
Nice.
Alistair is coming just beyond the tank. He's like a fortress. Considering if he had the hindsight, he could do Invincible and then do Sentinel and just tank all the damage and it doesn't do anything.
Well, let's be honest. Is he going to have that foresight? And is he always going to have the luxury of being able to shell out that much destiny for it?
That is true. I mean, then
Because it's a
again,
minimum cost of 3 destiny.
well, then again, he doesn't use his limit break unless we need a reset button.
Pretty much.
Because unlike me and Ni, who use our destiny points quite often.
I mean, I could have gone with the other one, which does seem a bit more logical. But then again, if I do pull that off, it'd be the first time, I guess. Second time LSI won't go down, but this time no
Saints
damage.
Cross.
Because the
So-
first time he did stay up, but then there was an effect once it was our round, and then he went down.
That was awesome.
I live. Ooh.
It's just that was incredible. It's like I live. Click.
Pretty much.
It's like that moment from Team 4 Star. It's like, is that all you go? God, there go my organs.
Yeah.
I can take anything you know. There you go, my organs.
Anyways, so you've sold your old staff. The group now has 38,248 gil. What are you doing next?
Well, now we got plenty of gil. I won't feel conscious of getting a load of potions. Because I definitely need a load. Holy shit, I use a load. I'm just going to say the cake's been eaten.
Okay,
Well,
fair
yeah,
enough.
that's
Goodbye the cake.
So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. As far as potions go, you can just buy a whole bunch of regular ones that act as high potions, and those only cost like what 40 gil.
20 gil.
Those 20.
So long as he's the one using them, they practically function as high potions, yes.
I also have 0 Phoenix Downs, so I was thinking about getting 2 of those because we seem to be going through Phoenix Downs lately a lot.
Yeah, because you're the one going down, and you're the one that has the life spell.
Yes. So I probably could bring 2 along as extras if I ever go down,
Indeed.
and then someone could just revive me with one of them. So
Indeed.
2 Phoenix Downs.
So
What
that's
else?
12. That's 1,200 right there.
I'm keeping a tally.
Yeah, I need to stock up on 2 normal potions as well because I used 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Shopping.
And let's stock up on the most potions I can. Let's see. Maybe
Where's my Phoenix down? Yes. Good.
3 high. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 high ethers, 3 high potions. And how much does that come to at the moment?
Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me whip out the calculator that I closed like a stupid person.
It's
All
okay.
right, so for 2 Phoenix Downs, the 2 potions Tom wants, and then the 3 high ethers and 3 high potions, that'll come out to a total of 2,440 gil so far.
Okay, so the next.
So I'm currently up to date on my tier 4 stuff.
I mean, everybody is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
at you're over level 10, so tier 5 stuff is stuff that you would like. That's the stuff you are currently capable of using if you want to upgrade.
Yes.
Oh
How
shit,
much-
that's a good point.
Yes.
How much is tier 5 stuff?
One moment. I will have the thing open right now.
Well, a tier 5 weapon is 28,000 gil. But
Oh, wow, fuck that.
Yes.
And the
tier-
armor, do you even want to know?
Yes,
Or
and tier
shield?
5 armor is 18,000.
I think we're good for the moment.
So,
all right.
Fine, that's never mind.
mean-
That's good. That's good. It's fine.
I mean, 3 of us already have tier 5 weapons.
Yeah, let's just save Gil until we can actually, afford it.
Yeah, I get my armor upgrade another time. Thank you.
It's a shame there's not a Wind Fiend, or you could just have a new bow from that.
Or even basically, I don't know, someone that can notch the price down a bit. But oh well, that individual's not in this campaign. So, regular potions and ethers. Okay, let's have a look here.
I was about to say, is there a job that, works as, getting the price down on a lot of these, or is that...
I mean, probably maybe gamblers or
I mean, if you make a
maybe
mercantile,
entertainers?
if you make a mercantile check that's high enough, I could decrease the price on some of these things by a little bit.
We don't have any... None of us have mercantile. But again, point being, we can't afford tier 5 stuff, and with honestly us, our encounters becoming little and little as possible, or at least ones that we actually get Gil, I don't think we're going to be able to afford anything until we all just get our tier 8 gear at the end.
Yeah, the most we're gonna face is when we reach our own Avengers moment. Even though there was many before Avengers, but it's the Avengers moment or the
If
endgame
nothing
moment.
else, let's leave it a little while till we get some Gil and to
Yes.
kind of do some armor out.
Anywho, regular potions and ethers. Let's see, they're like 20 each, so
So yeah, if you can get 5 of each.
Mika is gonna go ahead and invest in some ethers for herself.
Restock
Okay,
and all
so
your
how
lost.
many is that?
I'm keeping tally of everything everyone's getting. So far,
Okay.
it's 2 Phoenix Downs, 2 potions, 5 high ethers, 3 high potions.
So 5 regular potions and 4 ethers. How much would that be?
Give me a second. 5 regular potions would be 100.
Yeah. And then 4 ethers would be 80. Okay. Bad. And I think that's it from the shopping. So for me, it's 3 highs, ethers, 3 high potions, 5 regular potions, 4 ethers, and 2 Phoenix Downs.
Alright, so the total
Also-
list of things is 2 Phoenix Downs, 7 potions, 4 ethers, 5 high ethers, and 3 high potions, unless anyone else wants to get anything.
Yeah, Kyra needs a Phoenix down.
Okay, so that brings us up to 3 Phoenix Downs.
And does those have one?
Next, we'll be adding it to the sheet.
He
On the thing.
He does. Wait. Nope, I'm good.
Alright, give me just a second here. So that will in total run the group 3,620 gil.
Again, that's not bad.
It's fine.
Alright, let me just get this squared away.
So everything we just got back from Alistair's weapon, we still have some of that left.
Indeed. So go ahead.
Net
and,
profit. Oh yeah.
Shopping is fun.
You right?
Yeah, I'm alright. Just got a tickle in my throat. So 34,628 gil is what you guys have left.
I think that's enough shopping though for now.
Yes, indeed. I agree.
Indeed.
Alrighty.
I think that does most of our interactions for the general week.
I believe so.
Alright. Well then.
So yeah, as a general, me is still being derpy happy.
Yep.
Alright,
Derpy hat.
so. It is at. Let's see here. It is when you reach the 8th of Fading Light, first day of the week, that, Ni, as you're sort of, getting up. Wait, you're spending the night at your house, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, me and Mika are there. I think everyone else was using guest room
Right.
at our
Well,
family
that-
home, which is noticeably bigger.
Alright, well. As you are steadily coming to in your bed with Mika sleeping next to you, you're coming to and you look over at your window and there's just a little bird made entirely out of orange crystals standing on the ledge, peering in at you.
She kind of
I think I know
Raises
what
up.
that is.
her eyebrow at it. Kind of. Does it?
Have anything, or is it just like a message of, hey, it's done? What's it doing?
It kind of pecks at the bottom of the window a few times and lifts up one leg, and you see it has a little roll of paper strapped to it.
Mika's still asleep, yes.
Yeah, Mika's still asleep.
Careful not to wake her. And he's going to go and retrieve the item.
So you carefully prise open the window, and the bird holds out its leg, and you take the little roll of paper off. And the moment you do, the bird gives a little hops off, and that immediately just poofs into little crystalline shards, and those tiny little shards just fall to the ground as dust below.
Taking a peek, is it what we all know it to be?
You open up the little slip of paper, and it reads, "Apologies for the unusual message, but I didn't want to wake you too abruptly, or let a certain someone in on things unduly. It's ready. Come get it when you're ready. Panara."
Alright then. She's going to kind of tear it up and throw it out the window. And she's kind of
It's at the sound of the ripping paper that Amika's ear twitches, and she starts to stir just.
sorry to wake you. That was the most adorable yawn I've ever heard. I love you so much.
What happened? I thought I heard paper ripping.
No paper, just there was a weird bird on the window. Chewed off, and I'm gonna have a look at it. Scratching and pecking.
Make an acting check.
Technically, I'm telling the truth.
You are technically telling the truth, but you are also omitting the paper.
I have no acting. Huh.
Nope. None of
So
us.
the fact that she's half asleep will help. So.
Yeah,
Complete
so,
opposite ends of the spectrum.
yeah, so Mika just kind of looks at you for a second. She doesn't really seem convinced, but a moment later she also doesn't press the matter and just like,
Okay. Are we getting up?
Yeah, that's... Sun is rising. Well,
Let's head over to my parents' place, see if anyone else is kicking about.
Alright.
Though I would remember to get dressed first, unless you want to go over looking like that.
she looks down at herself, looks up at you, looks down at herself, looks up at you and is like,
Maybe I like looking like this.
Sure, but my eyes only. Thanatos doesn't get a peek.
I'm ready in your shower.
and she walks out.
Definitely makes herself at home.
She spent how many nights here? Alright, so. Take a little time to freshen yourselves up. Sorry about that. And make your way down to the Ethil family household. Let's see here. It's a cloudy day at this point, and it's definitely cool in temperature as you're making your way across the town. Days are starting to get a little on the shorter side as you're creeping further and further into autumn and winter again. And it briefly crosses your mind that in just another couple of weeks, it'll be the autumn equinox. Either way, you work your way through the streets, kind of a quiet morning, and before long you're stepping back into the Ethil household. Rani and Skalala and Farron don't appear to be present at the moment. From what you recall, they're currently back up at the castle at this point, getting ready to get back to business.
Is anyone else actually up and about?
Thanatos, Alistair, and Kyra are, if they want to do anything.
Yeah, say Alice is moving about.
Okay.
Just waiting for everyone to get up.
Say you find Alistair like in the front lobby, I guess, reading a book or something.
Yep.
Up already, Elsa?
Oh, yes. I just figured that we may be heading off out at some point,
Yeah.
so...
I'm also making note that Ni is back in her armor now.
Yeah.
Since the end of the week.
Had a peaceful sleep.
Peaceful enough?
That's good.
Though someone is still yawning and stretching, kind of playfully at Mika.
Can Thanatos make a stealth check to sneak up on me?
She's just gonna say something about him. Hopefully Vanatos haven't drinking too much last night. I'm getting really sick of using Persona on him.
Go ahead.
Why are
make
you
a
trying to
stealth
sneak
roll.
up on me?
Go ahead and make a stealth roll, Thanatos, and
For
me
fun.
make an awareness check.
What do I need to roll to prevent this?
Awareness. Stealth versus awareness.
Tom,
DM?
I said,
have we lost him?
Oh,
I'm right here.
again.
God damn it, I'm right here. I was right. I was talking the whole time, guys.
Oh,
Well, we
didn't
didn't really
hear.
hear you.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
apparently Discord decided, no, we don't get to hear you.
Okay,
What
so
were you?
I was saying, roll an awareness check, Tom.
Ah,
What was the last thing you guys heard me say?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Before I went quiet, what was the last thing I was saying?
it was you saying that Alistair was reading a book.
Yes. That was it.
So awareness.
Just stop fucking up.
All right, so Thanatos makes it relatively close before Ni sort of notice that there's movement creeping up behind you, and you look and you see Thanatos about 4 feet away. You got pretty close
Can't
before you
outstealth
spotted him.
I commend you on your attempt, but you can't outstealth a stealth elf, buddy.
Damn.
Mika looks over at him.
What were you even gonna do?
Eh,
Are you a lurcher?
Probably would have flicked her behind the ears and
not afraid to come near me now that I'm back in the summer? Huh?
And again, this is the you I know. The other one just seemed a little. You sure there wasn't Emma controlling you at that point or something?
Emma has yet to show any sign of a feminine side.
I mean, she was in a dress the whole time. She was parading around in your body.
Internally,
Wait.
you hear Emma going,
Our body, 1, and 2, I never had a chance to develop a feminine side.
That was internally, not. She didn't say it.
yeah, she said that internally just as sort of a little internal remark.
She'd like to remind you that it's our body.
Not for now.
Well, either way, I'm gonna go check on my mother. She isn't down yet. You all wait here. I'll be back soon.
Sure.
Make
leave it
sure to
here.
knock first, Nee.
She knows.
Unlike you, I have common sense.
Oh.
Ooh, shots fired. Not unjustified, though. You're out of line, but you're right.
Common sense, you're just no fun.
All right, so you
Return
make
to
your
Sean
yeah.
Connery.
so you make your way up the
As a
steps,
mustard.
and before long, you find your way to the door to Panara's room, and you give a few gentle knocks. A second later, you hear from within, "Enter."
She does so.
You push the door open, and it's what you're used to from Panara's usual abodes. Dimly lit, curtains drawn, a few little orbs of gently flickering light just kind of floating around to provide some illumination. But instead of sitting cross-legged in the middle of the floor as she usually is, she's currently sitting at a desk pushed up against the right wall. Hood down, eyes tired, lips sort of drawn into a thin line. She looks over at you, and her features soften considerably as she smiles. Oh, there you are. You got my message?
I got you. Yes, your little messenger bird pecked at our window.
It's a new trick I was working on. Another
Small.
less trackable means of keeping in touch.
Smaller version of the big girl, huh? You know, how did it go?
She scoots her chair back a little bit and gestures to the desk. It's right here.
I go to look at it.
You step forward and you look at the desk, and there in the middle, sort of positioned right in the middle of this sort of a small velvety pad, is the ring that you bought when back during your arc, and now set into it with the sort of gentle pattern flowing out of it and little strands of little silver coming out to wrap around the rest of the band, is the Ashen Tear Stone. Looks like it had to be shaved down a little bit to actually fit into the ring, but the shavings did not go to waste, as they've been sort of woven into the outer circumference of the band with these sort of swirling patterns that, with the general sort of gray and flickering red color of the Ashen Tear Stone, makes the whole ring almost look like smoldering coals, almost, but a far gentler shade, less aggressive and just comforting.
Wow. The enchantment, it still functions?
It does. It will save someone from a life-threatening or life-ending injury a single time. After that, the enchantment will be spent, and it will just be an ordinary ring.
Either way, it's something.
It
I
is.
think she'd appreciate the magicness of it.
It was not easy to create, let me tell you. There are numerous times where I almost botched it.
You didn't, though.
I didn't. I wasn't about to botch something with you again. Not something this important.
She's gonna hug her.
Panara returns the hug.
Thank you.
Of course.
Unfortunately, I guess this means that the ball's in my court now.
So it is. When are you planning on making the move?
Well, it's been a little over a week. Stone is in hand, and... Well, I imagine Sid will have found something by now. And I don't think Diabolos is going to wait for us to recuperate any further. Probably tonight. This
Alright.
afternoon. When the sun begins to set.
I wish you luck then.
Well, we've still got a few more hours. Let's try and make the most of that. And if I need anything, or you need anything, we do have that convenient little pokes our own head communication.
Or the bird, if need be.
Or the bird. He's going to pocket the ring, safely out of sight.
Alright,
Come on.
give me just a second.
Wait.
I am typing up an actual accessory sheet for this thing.
Going to be going on Mika's character sheet.
Yep. And we'll put that in Ni Ethil. And I'll write up a proper description later. I just added a little handout for you to go check out.
Alright, while I'm doing that, either way, she pockets the ring and goes to Panara. Oh, it's tier 8. Nice. And attribute bonuses as well. It gives +2 resistance, +2 mind, special ability to avert death.
Suck it, Death.
Yeah.
Either way, yeah, she pockets it and goes, alright, let's head down and wait for the others to come back.
Alright.
And then... Well, I imagine you'll want to see us off.
I will.
Don't know when we're going to be back.
I should mention one more thing before we step out.
Oh?
I don't know if you or Thanatos have felt it, but there's been some stirring again. Not as strong as before. But something's moving in the shadow.
Yeah. All the more reason for us not to wait around any longer. We've indulged.
We
Time
have.
to get back to it.
Right. Then let's get to it. She stands up and follows you out of the room. You all make your way, and you both make your way back down into the main room where the others have gathered, including Salika.
Alright. Given that we've spent the last week here and Diablo's forces are forever going to be, I think it's high time we set sail.
Agreed. As much as getting used to this wonderful place, we still got many things to do.
Yep. Still got crystals to grab and a dipshit to kick in the dick.
Oh, definitely.
Indeed.
We know the next crystal is north of Onomo. Sid and the mages of Onomo have been searching tirelessly for it, at least they should have, given what we know. They should have something by now. When we get there.
Yeah, Kyra turns to Alistair.
Don't you have a book that can keep us up to date on what's going on with them?
Indeed, I do.
All right.
Has
are
there
you
been
gonna
any
check it?
developments?
Good point. Have a look.
All right, so you fish it out and you look it over. And looking through it, you eventually find one of the more recent entries was marked down. It was dated. Whoever wrote it down, you get the impression it was Sid, judging by the writing, was written down on the 31st of the previous month. So basically the same day you guys arrived in Vitae. And it says, a group of adventurers just came back into Onomo from the north. Apparently they were dropped off on the beaches after crossing paths with Leviathan herself. They found the island the crystal is on, and the glacier has since stopped moving.
Huh.
We're not sure how long it's going to stay like that, so whatever you're doing, we're ready to receive you whenever. The longer it stays
Convenient.
still, the bigger the risk.
Convenient.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a location.
To Onomo then.
Thank you, Sid. We're on our way. Listen at him.
The Academy
you're-
City.
You write
It's
that
been a
down.
while.
Back to the
Yep.
city of nerds. Great.
You write that in, and a second later you get a response, this time in Elizabeth's handwriting, saying, "He wrote that a week ago."
We've been preoccupied, but rest assured, we are on our way.
Like, she literally just writes humph into the page.
Is humph even a word?
What a waste of ink.
It is now, and it gets your point across.
That's Mika.
It is very Alright. The ship should be good to go, fueled and ready. My armor's prepared. Let's go inform Dad and my sisters what's going on and prepare her for launch.
I packed a load of potions, so we should be good on that at least.
Salika walks up to you, Ni, and gives you a warm hug.
Take care out there, okay?
Will do. And when we get back next time, hopefully we'll be big damned heroes and I expect all of your cookies.
You're already big name heroes, and you'll always get all of my cookies. Just make sure you burn them off, you know?
I don't think I have much of a choice, we do a lot of running in my work.
A lot of
And
running, a lot of
shooting.
fighting.
That's Mika, just sort of rattling it off.
A lot of running, a lot of fighting, a lot of climbing. A lot less since we got the Little Wing, but still.
I'm usually the one piloting the little wing, so I get some work on the biceps. We all can be tough in high winds.
I bet that's good on your feet, too. Standing in one place all day.
That's Kyra.
Just gives you more of an ache than anything truly exercising, but point taken.
Salika pulls back after a second.
All right. Go on, then. Make me proud.
I will. Love you, Mom.
Love you, too.
And with that, you set out from the Ethil household and make your way through the streets back for the castle. You're admitted without incident, and before long, working your way through the streets, you soon find yourself back at the dry docks. And as you're stepping out onto the landing platform, you can already see that Farron, Ronnie, and Skalala are waiting for you. Farron looks over as you're approaching.
You beat us to it then, I see.
Benora let us know this morning that you'd probably be heading out.
Yeah, there's some developments. It's been nice, but, well, duty calls.
I understand.
You told me that much.
So I did. Rania pipes up at this point.
Yeah, we're probably going to be doing some work of our own here in a little while.
What's going to be happening here in Pate? Lacking crystals and the demon presence dwindling for now.
Skalala folds her arms over her chest.
Well, I'm being put in charge of a team to keep an eye on the amber clusters around the forest, just to make sure none of them get too uppity. And, well, not really sure what Ronnie is doing.
She looks over at Rania.
She won't tell me.
Is the commander being secretive again?
Rania just chuckles and shakes her head.
I've been given something of a secret mission I gotta go on.
Ooh, secret mission.
Okay, hold up. I hate to do this, but I actually gotta pause this right now because all of a sudden my bowels are acting up. I need to go empty them. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
What a moment to do it. Well, at least you did it now, rather than what we're probably going to end the session on.
I was about to say that'd be hilarious. He just like this. Mika, will you marry me?
I do just shit gone.
I was, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go take a shit. I'll be right back."
Oh,
that's
yes, this is
that's
where I'm
that's
supervised while recording.
That's
Which one of
exactly.
you cannot flush the toilet when he took a shit? It wasn't me, well, it was fucking one of yous. Disgusting.
Welcome to today's session. Our DM had to skip over for a while because he needed a shite.
Disgusting.
I hope most of this gets edited out when
That's
it's uploaded.
exactly that is exactly the answer that Nee will want to hear. Right when she asks that, it's just, "Oh, I gotta go take a shite."
Oh god, it just reminds me of that freaking moment I was reviewing the Alpha Mega series when there was meant to be an emotional moment and then the bear just shows up saying, I need to pee.
I need to poo. Oh no.
I need to take a shite.
Or that
So, yeah,
one song,
Lionsgate
or that
let
one
themselves
song
go
in The
with those
Simpsons
movies.
where the character Apu is singing what's meant to be an emotional song, and yet the main chorus line is "Somebody needs a poo."
Well, at least it ain't a random line you wouldn't expect in a certain Elder Scrolls
Oh.
game.
Oh, nobody needs a poo. One of them. But yeah, like it's his name, but you can see what they were doing there. They're immature.
Yes. I wonder how Sir Jomas is going to react to this if he hears this bit. That is
Indignation, disgruntlement, disappointment, and lots of faith in humanity again. You know the usual.
Future Sir Jomas, we are sorry, but
we're
also at
not.
the same time not sorry. At least most of us.
I had to go take a shite.
Oh, he's back.
He is. I don't hear him.
I heard him. Maybe oh wait,
He does not speak.
he's wandered off. He'll be back.
That he has. He has wandered off.
Oh, hang on. Here he comes.
How can you tell? I can't hear anything.
I can hear him moving. I'm sorry if my hearing is that good. Despite I
That's-
got music in my ears
That's
as well.
me.
No,
I was moving my
even-
leg and I hit my desk. That's me.
yeah, but it's also flickering a bit his profile pic. So
Mine on my screen is his deal is just green like all the time.
well, it flickers out a bit. But yeah, that could be just the mic acting up.
I don't know.
But anywho's, he be a while yet. Awkward silence is awkward.
Yeah, we're waiting for impromptu
Reminds
exit
me of a
from...
quote of
Oh,
the Noise
damn.
Marines. This quiet offends Slanesh. Oh dear.
Look at all this nice leaving music, having our farewell, then I need a shit.
I need a shite.
He needs to drop the package.
Okay, so
he's
sorry
back.
about that. It hit me like it just out of nowhere. I am terribly sorry, but I'm back now. Did I miss anything?
So, only
No, nothing
jokes at your
much. Welcome
expense.
back, good sir. We've been
Yes,
waiting.
only jokes at your
Awkward
expense.
silence.
Right.
Probably be edited out though, so let's proceed.
Probably. All right, so as I recall, Ronnie had just mentioned that she had some secret mission she was going on, yes?
Yeah,
Indeed.
and Ni commented, "Is the commander keeping secrets again?"
Ronnie just rolls her eyes and puts her hands behind her back.
Only those I gotta, Squirt. Only those I gotta.
Orders from the top, huh?
Kind of a sensitive thing. If it goes well, I'll clue you in. As it is, I got an airship of my own waiting for me, so I should probably go get on that.
Can't even tell us where you're going.
She looks over at Farron, and he looks at her and says, as long as it doesn't leave this dry dock.
South. I'm flying south.
The edge of nothingness.
I'm going places.
Places we've gone. Careful down there. There's a lot of living cactus people who like to shoot things with their pins.
Yeah, cactars, I'm aware. I'll take care of myself, though. Don't you worry.
Well, if you happen to see a rather angry bunny lady, just tell her that you're my
I was
sister.
gonna bring it up. Is there
Be
also
fine.
someone else around there?
Well, whatever your mission is down in the Badlands. Good luck, sis.
You too.
Oh,
Sklala,
piss off.
do not get caught again, or I will never let you live it down. You're already not
Neither-
gonna let me live it down.
No, we're not. Ever.
You're all worse
It's
than
because we love you, sis.
you're all worse than Scoth and Mel, I swear.
I'll try not to be offended at that. Goes over to give her a hug.
Squall returns it.
But no, seriously, do not scare me like that again.
Who was that directed at?
You. That was from Skalala to you.
Goes both ways, but yeah. I'll keep an eye out. Besides, kind of knocks her armor. Good as new.
Yeah.
Skalala claps you on the arm and backs up. Then Farron turns to you. All right. Long goodbyes are great and all, but we really shouldn't be keeping you.
We'll take our leave then. Watch the homestead while I'm gone. I want
I
to come
will.
back once it's done.
I will. It's my job. Take care.
Alright. Will do. Alright. Get aboard. I'll bring us out.
And don't worry, we take care of Ni. Although saying that, she can also take care of us. Whew.
Well,
You've gotten very strong, Ni.
well, so long I have someone to pull my ass out the fire every now and then.
We could do that for you. Now then,
Or pull the ice spike out of your chest.
Too
I
little.
shall be
Get
on
aboard.
watch.
So what?
She said too literal. Get on board.
All right.
Something tells me Thanatos is going to take some knocks along the way.
I always take knocks.
Big doofus.
So we're all hopping
But
on
he's a
then.
love big doofus enemy.
She said it's doofus with affection. Anyway, we're all getting on board.
Alright.
Indeed.
So, yep. You all step aboard the Little Wing, you go through the motions, you get her set up, and before long, the thrum of the Magitech engines and the propellers fill your ears as you pull out of the dry dock and start to make your way up into the sky and away from Vatea. So, let me just find some good music for this. There we go.
Here we go.
Alright, so, this is a pretty chunky distance you guys are flying, all things considered.
It's chunky.
So yes,
All right.
that's
We're just
Huh?
practically across the continent.
Ni's gonna start to make her move. Because, I know Mika does like the ocean view for obvious reasons. Also, so pretty about halfway into the trip.
It's like 2 months worth.
it's gonna be about this is gonna be just over a 2-week trip, 15 days.
Jesus.
Alright.
Remember, we divide by 4 for airship travel.
So yeah, about half. Ni's gonna spend the next week piloting it and just kind of doing the final planning and molding it over in her head. And whenever we get about halfway into the trip, she'll start to make her move. In the meantime, though, anyone else?
Anyone else have anything they want to do?
I suppose at one point. But that was when, so leaving, there was a little bit of a tear in Alessiah's eye, but he just rubs it away and just smiles. Feeling a bit homesick.
And nothing I can think of for Thanatos and Cairo. Continue.
Yeah.
So, put about
Goes
halfway
all
in-
to Ni, I guess.
about halfway into the trip. That would be
Back a little.
Flying right over Komodo.
Not quite.
we'll say right
Few
about
days out.
we'll stay right about here. Good.
Almost to Komodo. Why?
Like a day out from Komodo.
Why?
He won't quite be in sight yet. It's like a day out.
So yeah.
Yeah.
You spend almost a solid week flying over the open oceans of the Grand Gateway Bay, watching the waves pass slowly by beneath you. It's serene and tranquil, just ocean as far as you can see in all directions. Sometimes you bring the little wing down just to sort of skim along the top of the water just for the fun of it. Sometimes you fly higher up to be above the clouds just to get this really wide view of everything.
Partway, as the afternoon sets in, Ni's gonna quickly go to Thanatos and go, "Hey, can you take the wheel a minute?"
Oh. It's a little earlier than we're used to. You feeling okay?
Don't worry, I just need to talk to Mika a moment. I'll take it back from it before you happen to see Komodo coming up on the horizon and feel the urge to crash into it. Great prejudice.
Can I fire the cannons?
Save the ammunition for something that's actually worth time.
But it's just fine.
Can I just say Alessiah's hooking his cape and trying to just drag him along?
Thank you, Answer. Now, where is that Mika?
Yeah, at this point, Mika's down below decks. You think she's doing some personal reading.
Anything interesting?
She looks up and shrugs.
It's nothing too special, just a storybook.
Just as a heads up, can you come up on deck tonight when the others have parted? There's some things I want to talk to you about.
She raises an eyebrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Say about
9 or so when the sunset, the stars are out, and the others should have all gone down to get some rest.
I suppose. Sure.
Sorry to be enigmatic, but well, it's important. You'll see. I'll leave you to your reading. Thanatos is at the wheel, and you know how I get when that happens.
Yeah. Sure, yeah. I'll come up. 9, you said?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock? I'll be there.
Alright. So, what exactly are you going to prepare?
Alright, so when the sun starts to set and it's approaching 9 o'clock, but not quite yet, we know Thanatos would normally take over for a little while, piloting thing, but tonight she's gonna kind of set the wheel, and as he's coming, she's gonna kind of go to him. Thanatos, not tonight. I've set the wheel, it should be fine. If there's anything bad,
Big bad emergency happening, I can take care of it.
He raises an eyebrow.
I have plans tonight. Kind of reaches into her pocket and shows him the completed ring.
Oh. Finally gonna pop that question, huh?
It's weird. I'm kind of stuck in a loop of being absolutely terrified and yet serenely calm about it. I know that doesn't make sense, but yeah.
How fitting for the one chosen by the god of wind.
I do go where the wind blows.
And
So, pocketing the ring again. You could just kind of give us a bit.
sure.
Appreciate it.
Kind of pats her on the shoulder. Good luck.
Thanks. And after he's gone and the deck is completely clear, she's gonna set the wheel just to keep going forward. And then she's going to prepare her previously gathered supplies of picnic blankets, supplies, food, drinks, the advanced blue magic book, and she's going to take the ring and place it inside the cover.
Alrighty.
Smooth. Also, just for fun, can Thanatos kind of pull a stealth check and just try to like hide like in the stairways, see if he can just see it?
I mean, if,
Not with bodyguard Vanatos on watch, you not. Do not ruin this moment, mister.
I'm not ruining it. He just wants to see it.
uh,
And I'm sure your other half would agree with me not to intervene.
if you want to, I won't stop you. But I
may
do
try.
kind of agree it might be best if you
Yeah.
don't on this particular one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I think your other self would also disagree with you if that's a good idea. That's a terrible idea. Go.
Yeah. Honestly, I wasn't even going to. I was just going to see if Tom had any reaction to it.
Well,
I mean, if you really, really wanted to,
I would
let
have
you,
rolled an
but-
awareness check, and if she caught you, she wouldn't have been best pleased.
Oh.
Anyways, so.
Yeah, he wouldn't do that.
Alright,
Yeah,
so-
you saw what he did to Snowflake, man. You do not want to see what Nee would do.
Anyways, so.
Black Storm sharp shot.
Alright, so. Tom, you get all of this set up. You get out a nice big blanket from your quarters. You get it laid out. You make sure everything's all nice and set down so that the wind of the airship flying through the air doesn't send anything flying. You get out the bunch of stuff set down. A couple bottles of wine, I'm assuming. Food and baskets. Basically just a picnic on the deck of a speeding airship.
At night, like, probably also probably slightly above the clouds, so you get just an unobstructed view of the stars.
Yeah,
Constellation.
like you had to because it's a cloudy day. So yeah, you bring the airship up over the over the cloud cover, so it's just overhead, just open night sky with the. Let me check the phase of the moon real quick, because I can check that now, because that's part of the calendar. I can just, if my mouse will appear, there it is. It's a waning crescent moon fading, so it's very small in size, you know, just this kind of tiny little needle thin crescent up in the air, but it's still providing gentle illumination across just a fuck ton of stars, more than you think you've ever actually seen before in a single night, because out in the middle of the ocean, way up high, there is no light pollution whatsoever. You can see the galaxy itself up there. This purple band of almost like mist just going horizontally across the sky, just loaded to the brim with little sparkling lights. And below you, faintly illuminated by that overhead brilliance, is just an endless sea of white. Just the clouds reaching out towards the horizon for miles and miles and miles, all the way to the horizon as far as you can see. A very picturesque moment. And as you've finally gotten everything sort of situated and settled down, and you're sitting there and waiting anxiously, a few minutes pass. And you know it's 9 o'clock, and you look back, every so often sort of fidgeting anxiously in place, and finally, you hear these steps coming up from below. You turn to look over your shoulder, and Mika emerges onto the deck, a little groggy, but mostly curious and interested. She turns in your direction and raises an eyebrow at everything you've gone and set up.
Just because we're not vegetarian anymore doesn't mean we can't enjoy ourselves anyway, you know.
Wasn't expecting a picnic. I thought something serious had come up.
Sorry for the subterfuge, but it was a bit of a surprise, you know. Picnic on an airship above the clouds under all the stars you could ever want.
Yeah.
She walks forward and sits down next to you, looking up.
Damn.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is.
A world all to ourselves. Remember that night? In that tree? When I got you to climb it? Looked at the constellations?
Yeah, I remember. Long time ago. That was before I was even a student in the city.
We were just figuring ourselves out at the time.
Yeah.
Well, once you see now.
Honestly, through all the stars, I can't make out any of them. It's just too dense. Kind of reminds me of this joke my dad told me once, though, that, you know, like for the simple individual who isn't really perceptive enough to pick out specific constellations, if you just look up at the night sky and you see the stars, they are all part of this one big stupid constellation he calls the bees.
The bees.
The bees! If you just look up, you're just seeing all the bees.
And now I'm never going to get the image out of my head that we're up here having a picnic surrounded by celestial bees.
I mean, if it makes it better, think of them maybe as dragonflies instead. Because those are pretty, at least.
Well, your dad is a creative man.
Yeah, that he is. That he is. I'm glad he's okay.
I'm glad they are. But if there is a sky, a swarm of bees surrounding us, bees tend to be attracted to the sweet and tasty things, so as we best get into all of this.
She reaches over and gives you a playful shove.
Yeah.
We've got sandwiches, a bit of wine, some fruit. Oh, and of course, kind of nudges forward the book. You know, honor the occasion of how we first came together.
What is this, our anniversary or something?
First gift I ever bought you was a basic book on blue magic that we read in the infirmary together. This is an advanced version. All the things that first one doesn't teach you.
Interesting. You bring me up here, say we have the whole world to ourselves, and what is it you ask me to do? Read a book.
And she reaches down and pulls it open to the first page, and her eyes immediately lock onto what you left there.
A whole world to ourselves. Future to do with as we will. I know what to do with mine. Mika Selwyn, she takes the ring and holds it up. Marry me?
Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
So
I was
first
about,
squeeze.
I was about to say, and that's where we'll pick up next time, but no, I'm not that evil.
You would. Part of me
We
thinks you
must
would be
know.
rich.
Come on, don't do one of those cliche cliffhangers.
See, I really wanted to because that would be a great cliffhanger on you guys, but at the same time, I'm really starting to hit my groove here, so now's as good a time as any. So,
Must that be like a kick to the balls to me?
that
It
too.
was like,
I repeat, Mika Selwyn, will you marry me?
Mika takes a moment, her brain seemingly short-circuiting, as she just looks at the ring.
MikaSolon.ext has stopped working.
Shut up. She slowly lifts her hands and gingerly takes the ring between her fingers, just looking it over. Blinks a few times rapidly as she's sort of trying to wrap her head around the question that had just gone asked her.
Yes.
And she throws herself against you in this really tight, bone-crushing hug.
You mean it?
1,000 times over, yes.
I love you.
I love you too.
And that is where we'll pick up next time.
Nailed it.
That you did. So,
Damn it. Nice one.
that was a very long time coming.
2 years in the real world, 3 nearly.
Yeah, like when we hit January 2021, like it's August 2021 as we're recording this session. So next time we hit January, we'll have been going for 3 fucking years.
Ooh. That's a lot.
Yes.
But yeah, so
Alright.
on that heartwarming note, we will pick up next time. So thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Until then, keep listening, people. Bye-bye. The to be continued screen isn't playing.
Bye, everyone. That's
Ended.
great.
Hello, goodbye.
I am not crying.
Long time coming.